Hey guys, Explorer 4 here, Horror Boy 465. Actually, the 465 is gone, but the Horror Boy here, I'm still getting used to that. So, welcome to another stream. And today we got a full house here. We got my friend Gid Dahmer.
Yes, hello there.
We got my friend Grim Reaper here.
What's up,
Welcome back.
guys?
Been a long-awaited return to the stream. He's finally back and better than ever. We got John Grande, Grande's Graveyard up in the house. What's up,
Too
my friend?
sweet, baby. Too sweet.
Woot woot.
Wolf Pack for life.
For life.
Yeah. And today we're going to be discussing, because John had a good idea, because he was going to do another decade of horror episode. We're talking about the 90s, but I was thinking about it. It was mainly going to be a lot of bashing. So John had this idea to talk about the year 1990. I thought that was a great idea because the year actually has a lot of great horror films that we can go over. And basically the idea of the stream is that it'll go from Gideon to Grim, and then Grim to John, and John to me. We're going to pick out a movie from 1990 that we really think is influential and that we really enjoy, and give our reasons why, and then kind of ask for people's opinions. And we'll kind of go on from there. We'll keep doing it till we're, sick of it. But anyways, let's get to it. Gid, if you want to go first, what's your first pick of the year 1990?
Okay, so when I first picked my ideas was I wanted to talk about the second movie to the Puppet Master series, which truthfully I have to say Puppet Master 2 is my favorite out of the entire series because of just how it's executed. Like, little fact about me, I'm a insanely huge Puppet Master fan. I got a huge poster over my bed and such. And just, I always enjoyed the thought of like bringing something to life of souls and stuff in horror films, like, either Chucky or, the movie Dolls by Charles Band, sort of the same type of way like that. And Puppet Master 2 to me, it has everything that the first had, but expands onto it. More of like, we get to see sort of like major, more gore of like tunneler screwing into that girl's head, and more of like, explanations on the past on how they're like working about the ancient secrets and stuff. Sorry about that. I can't talk. I got a slug in my throat. But yeah. Basically, the way it talks about it, though, I felt like it actually rounded out the story. Like, you didn't have to know who the puppets were. It actually explains it to you in that movie. Like, kind of kicks the first movie in the face, in my opinion, and gives, like, we can do better. We can show you insaner gore, more, like, complex storylines, and God, that ending is just freaking amazing.
Such a weird design he has. Movie.
Like, yeah, like, it reminded me of the old Invisible Man.
It really did. I got a lot of like old school horror vibes from that movie for some reason. The fog and the lighting kind of seemed kind of gothic at times.
Oh yes, I am gothic trash.
Yeah. For me, I think Puppet Master 2, because I used to do rant. I think I did a rant in the movie back in the day. I don't even know why. I just did a rant because I did a rant. I felt like doing a rant. But honestly, I really like that movie. I think it's probably one of the better ones. I think like the first 5 are like all pretty good.
Have you guys seen the first movie?
The Last Reich or whatever it is.
Oh, I saw that one.
That was really, really fucking brutal.
I have to admit that. Yeah, it is, dude. It had like a lot of offensive humor as well, and I love that.
Yes.
I'm like, are they really going to show a bunch of Jewish people getting burned on screen?
The baby scene. Holy shit.
God. The fetus getting ripped out of that girl.
Oh, dude.
Where did you take the fetus to? That's what I'm wondering.
Dude, I love when they break PC in horror movies, because like people are just too much walking on eggshells now. Like, seeing shit like that. Like, I don't know if y'all ever seen Terra Firma, but same shit. Like the opening scene of that movie with the fucking fetus being ripped out of the book. I was just like, yo, this would not fly now.
I actually got to remember my character eat a fetus in my movie, actually.
Oh shit, I bet you do. No, in your ass. I bet you do.
Yeah, I think that Puppet Master 2 is probably, it's got upgraded effects, doesn't it? They did better effects.
Yeah, they got better stop motion, better puppet looks. And actually we get to see a prototype of Blade, Mesfero, like based off the German legend Faust, which that was his whole entire thing too long back when he was performing.
Yeah, I won't lie, man. The first 5 movies I actually really enjoy, especially like 4 and 5. They did some really creative stuff with those sequels.
Except Legacy. I hate Legacy with all my body.
Yeah, after part 5, they went downhill, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They have like what 12 of them. It's like really.
Shit.
They're making
Yeah,
more,
probably.
by the way.
I look at the
I
I
think-
look at the second Puppet Master almost like I look at like Ghoulies 2.
Oh, I love Ghoulies.
Like Ghoulies 1 is just like what the fuck, and then the second one they just let the Ghoulies do their thing. I almost look at Puppet Master 2 like a sequel like that, where it's like they worked out the kinks from the first movie and then they just were like, bam, now we're gonna execute this for real. Like I agree with what Gideon was saying, where it's like they realized they could do better and they did better. It's like it's one of those, it's easy to say you could do better, but once you do it, you know, you haven't done anything till you've actually accomplished it. And like I really like Puppet Master 2 for that reason. And yeah, I agree with Nate. I think 3, 4, 5, like those are all pretty solid movies from what I remember. I haven't seen them all in years, but from what I remember, I like those movies as well.
Yeah, Grim, have you seen the Puppet Master movies? You've seen the
Yeah.
last?
Yeah. The Littlest Reach, right? Or the Reich.
Yeah, the new one. I didn't see that one. The puppets look
Oh.
weird in the movie.
Yeah, it's on Amazon for free, I think, on Shudder.
Oh shoot, I'll check it out.
It might be, if it still is. But yeah, no, you got to check it out. It's actually really, really. I was pretty surprised with some of the death scenes in that. The first death got me
man.
too, when he cut the guy's throat and then he like slits his stomach. And
Oh. Yeah.
oh, he did him dirty, man.
Oh yeah, he did him dirt like a dog.
Yeah, and then I think there was another death too. I won't ramble on, but there was another death in there that got to me too. I think it was with the guy's back or his spine. Or it was like the little baby doll.
Yeah,
Remember
he was
that?
controlling him.
Yeah, that shit was gross. The guy lifts up
They
his
literally
shirt
had a
and I'm
baby
like,
doll with Hitler's mustache. Junior Farah.
the guy lifts up the back of his shirt. And I'm like, no, don't do that. No. Oh God.
Junior Fiora.
Did
I was
you
eating
like
pizza.
Puppet Master 2?
Huh?
Did you see the second one?
Yeah. I've seen the first 3 actually, and I think I've seen 6. And there might have been Axis of Evil as well too. I think I've seen at least 5 of them. 6, 5 or 6.
Right. Yeah, like the Puppet Master movies are kind of fun, you know. Like, you know, the first 5, they really don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, except for like the first movie. I will agree with you guys. Like, back in the day, I was the biggest fan of the first movie, but the more I look at it's kind of a weird movie. Those like mysticism and voodoo, not really voodoo, but like psychic type stuff. It's just weird. People
It's
with special
weird,
psychic
yeah.
powers.
Yeah.
Grim, what's your pick from 1990?
Shit. Okay, let's think. I'm thinking Hellraiser 3.
It came out in 90. The 90. I think that's like 90 or something like that.
1993, I think, right?
Did we send Grim the list? We should wait. Hold on. Gid, do you have
Yeah.
the list on Tim?
I don't have the list. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
so lost.
I'll send it.
All right.
Gid's gonna hook you up.
All right. Sorry about that, Grim.
No, you're all good. You guys can go if you want. I can check out the list right now.
You want me to pick one?
Huh?
You want me to pick one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Let me pick one here in the list of craziness here.
Hopefully the call doesn't end.
Let's talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface.
Ooh.
This is one that I actually really dig. I know a lot of people are kind of the middle of the road about it, but I don't know. I kind of always dug this movie. I really like the lead. I like Kate Hodge. I think Kate Hodge in it. Ken Foray, I love him in it. I think this is a really underrated sequel. I don't really get the hate. I feel like after part 2, they didn't really know where to go with it, so they just decided to go back to the roots. And I don't know. I think overall, this movie has a really good atmosphere. I think R.A. Meeloff as Leatherface is really good. Of course, Viggo Mortensen as one of the family members. And I always really like the little girl, who's actually the same little girl from the beginning of Friday the 13th, Part 7. The chick with the telekinesis. She plays her as like a little kid. And she shows up in this movie too, playing like the creepy, like little sister person. And like, I don't know. I really always dug Texas Chainsaw 3. I thought Ken Foree did good in it. And I think it's one of those movies that got cut really bad by the MPAA, but I don't know. Overall, I really, really dig this movie. But what are y'all's thoughts?
That was okay.
Get you go first if you want.
Okay, so like I have this DVD sitting right there on my mantle. Like I haven't really got to watch it yet, but I've seen a couple clips from my, Dead Meat and such. But I have to say though, the thing that I really love about this movie is its trailer. I love the part with
yeah.
Leatherface.
It has a great trailer, The Lady in the Lake.
And it just like rises up and just Leatherface grabs that chainsaw and I'm like,
So
is this Masters of the Universe?
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, that's one of the things that drove me to that movie. Because when I was a kid, I used to get on YouTube back in the day, and you couldn't really like look up, like you really couldn't watch movies on YouTube that much back then. Like it was kind of rare. But what you could do is like look up themes and look up trailers. So I would look up, like I knew there was original Chainsaw Massacre, but I wanted to see how many sequels there were. So I seen like Part 2's trailer. And I remember when I seen Part 3 trailer, that's one of the things that made me go, "Wow, I got to see this movie someday." Like it's such a badass trailer. It's so.
I heard they. Oh, go on. Sorry, bro.
No, you're fine. I was pretty much done with that. What's your thoughts on it, man?
Aren't they supposed to come out with like an extended cut before I say anything? They were supposed to do that or some shit because I heard they cut like so much stuff from the movie.
Dude, yeah,
And that's what disappointed me.
7.
Yeah, there was
They
that.
raped
Oh,
those two movies.
They did,
They
man.
raped them.
Yeah, Jeff
Completely
Burr, the
sad.
director, he fought for that movie to be uncut, but they had to go to the MPAA like a record amount of times. I think like 9 or 10 times that movie had to go to the MPAA. And like that's to this day, a lot of people give that movie shit. And I'm just like, yo, I mean, if they release it uncut, I mean, it would be, I guess, a lot better. I can't really fault the filmmaker for that, though, because he shot the stuff. It's not like he
yeah.
didn't go gory with it, but, the MPAA just decided to cripple his movie. It sucks.
Yeah, it's sad, MPA. I mean, look at Midsummer, man. I know this is not a '90s movie, but like that shit goes into theaters, but they cut out what like a couple people getting cut up and shit. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This world's just weird.
The MPAA,
It's just
man,
weird.
One day
It is
we
weird,
gotta do
man.
a stream on MPAA, like the
Yeah, like
history
they-
of it ruining movies.
that's why I
Yeah,
do my
like-
shit independent.
Like they freaked the fuck out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning where Matt Bomer's getting cut up by the chainsaw, and there's that one cut I heard in the commentary where someone's all like, "Oh yeah, so the MPAA freaked out because of that one shot of the meat just flying up," and they're like, "No, you need to cut that out, otherwise that's rated X." And I'm sitting there like, "That's just sad, man. It's just a piece of meat."
The practical effect, man, and I think that's what the MPA misses about that is the effect. I don't want to get on a tirade about the MPAA because I want to save that for maybe a possible future stream. But to mention
Yeah.
that real quick, the MPAA, man, they were just made to screw up movies, especially horror films. And like the sad thing about Chainsaw Massacre 3, because I'm a huge fan of it, is that due to that, a lot of people don't like this movie, and it's because it's a very choppy, fast edited. There's obvious scenes in the movie where you can tell something was lopped out, and you can kind of, especially the theatrical cut. Like I seen the unrated cut for the longest time, and I was like, this is pretty tame. But the theatrical cut is like dry, like it's literally chunks missing from scenes, and
Yeah.
it's sad because it really affects those sequences, makes it less intense because you're just seeing these cuts happen. And you're like, wow, I didn't get to see that. I didn't get to see that. But
Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
I think the movie's great though. I think it has a great atmosphere, like John said. I love the soundtrack. This like early '90s thrash metal soundtrack. I think it adds so much to the film. It has a rock and roll, like a horror rock and roll thing going on there. I like that. I like the look of Leatherface. I like his chainsaw in the movie. His chainsaw is badass. I mean, it's the biggest chainsaw out of all the films.
So it's the
And it's
family.
funny.
All his family, baby.
Yeah, like that
Yes.
tagline is just so iconic, and I just do not understand where most of this hate comes from the film. I actually just really love the movie. It's one of my favorite horror films from the '90s. I mean, really.
Yeah, I
love
don't really don't get the hate either. Like I don't like people that are always like, oh, I wish they'd go be more like original. Like there's a lot of series like that, like the Halloween series, the Elm Street series. Like, oh, be more like the original. And then this movie is more like the original, and people hate it. I'm just like, what do you really want? I don't really get it. I mean,
Halloween 2 and 4, they kind of take things from the first movie. You can kind of tell.
sure they do.
I think you can borrow and do homages, but there's a difference between ripping off and homages. I think homages can be done very well. And like the thing is, so what if they put gore in this movie? It would automatically make it a great horror film. I just don't see that point. Like if you add in gore, like that's literally going to make it a great horror film. Like I still think it has great acting. I think it has great characters. Like I think it has memorable lines. I don't know. It's just weird to me how this movie is treated.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. I think it's underrated.
Well, Grim, you want to go, or you want me to go and then come back to you, or
I'm
how do you
down.
want to
Hell
do
yeah.
that?
All right, you guys are gonna hate
All
me
right.
for this. You guys are gonna seriously just. Oh god, I feel like someone's just gonna grab a snorkel and just shove it down my throat and shit down it. All right, it's gotta be Freddy's Dead.
Oh
I've talked
yes.
I've talked so much shit about it, but like it's. I mean, Freddy Krueger, like when he becomes comedic, I love it. Like, I mean, this guy was making fun of the Wizard of Oz. I mean, I love that part. And the part where the guy flies out the window in the beginning, and like he's like falling down the hill, and then all of a sudden he's like rolling up the hill, and he just wouldn't stop. And I'm sitting there just like, like he just rolls up the hill casually. Like, I don't know what the hell was up with that. That was pretty bad. But like, I don't know. I get why people hate it, but like it's not that bad. I mean, I know for a fact people were in the theaters like laughing like throughout the entire film at least, because I mean it's fun. It's funny as hell seeing him like when he's I don't know, it's like an acid trip. I watched it on acid too, and it was probably like the best thing I've ever done. But
Did you watch it for 3D on acid?
no, I watched the thing on acid, which was not okay. I
Oh
actually
hell
regret
yeah,
that.
dude.
Oh,
That's a weekend for me.
Dude, I had to stop when like the guy's head turned into a spider crab. I was like, no more.
Oh, kid, you had to find the remote first.
I don't want to spend the entire winter tied to this fucking couch.
You know,
guys
I'd
got-
really
you guys
like
can't
to get
laugh.
up.
Which one?
It's been winter time to this freaking couch.
Yo, the ear aid scene though. No, what was it? His hearing aid. That part. Ah,
Oh,
his ear-
Harlow.
that. Clean out your ears for you.
That's gotta suck. I wouldn't want to be
So
in that guy's
cheesy,
position.
man. Such a cheesy little fun movie. I don't know. It's not scary at all. It's definitely as a
dark
horror
comedy.
film.
You want to get
Horror.
high.
I think personally, it's a fun laugh at movie, like just to laugh at it. But I
Yeah.
don't know. It gets various opinions. I don't think it's nearly as good as the other movies. It's definitely one of the worser ones. But it's just
Yeah,
I don't
once
know.
you compare it to like the first three, or at least the first two, it's like it's pretty bad. But like when you just kind of just watch it as its own stand. Okay, after like three or at least four, like 5 and 6 is like towards that territory where it's just like okay, this is getting pretty bad. I mean,
You're
4
about
was
to power
too, but
glove.
Oh god.
Power glove.
Oh, my
Yeah.
buddy Ryan is watching our stream, and he said Freddy's Dead is also one of his favorites. So you're not alone.
Same.
Bro.
sweet dude, hell
My
yeah.
favorite too.
I think me and Nate are in the same boat, though. It's not one of my favorite movies. I rewatched it. I did an Elm Street podcast for my show at Farmingdale. It was like the longest one I ever did. And yeah, I watched 5 and 6 back to back because I forgot really both movies. But man, they're both like not my cup of tea. I think 5 is worse though. Like 5
Yeah,
is
5 was like a complete like I don't know what you call it, a black comedy. I mean,
Dude,
6
5
was,
is
but
like awful. Like, let's talk about abortion in an Elm Street film. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't need to see shit like that. Like, I'd rather see Freddy play with a fucking power glove than talk about abortion and shit. Like,
You know you
Yeah.
shouldn't abort children if I can't get their dreams.
we'll see, bitch. I'm just like,
That's Pee Wee
bro,
Herman's
like,
job.
what? I don't know.
I hear Blumhouse is trying to do like a whole remake, not a remake, but like you know how what they did with Halloween, like ignoring all the
Yeah.
sequels.
Yeah,
Now, honestly,
I know
man,
up to. I know their big formula plan there.
So
yeah,
food.
it's like been done already though. Like New Nightmare did that. Like
And New
honestly,
Nightmare's great. I love New Nightmare.
yeah. And Blumhouse just,
Yeah,
I mean, I like Blumhouse and all, but it's just like you don't have to touch everything you see. You feel,
Yep.
I hear they want to make like a universe out of it, and like this, it's
Yeah.
not superheroes, bro. It's fucking horror. Like, it's not. I don't know. I don't want to see that at all.
all of them
The
together. I
Conjuring
mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Me.
Like, I don't want to see
God.
a horror civil war. Like, I don't need to see that. Like, I don't.
I'm still gonna stand by what I said tonight though. I believe the future of horror is with the fans and their independent creations.
There you go.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
I
indie
hear-
horror, because horror is
Indie
amazing.
horror. Yes,
Yeah, that's
dude,
what I'm saying.
indie horror. I'm telling you,
Like, I
because
seen-
Hollywood.
Man, Green Room was like awesome, dude.
No, what we need though, we need like new young creators to come in. They have a vision. We need people who won't step on all their ideas, step on feet, and just try to break new boundaries in horror. Because we got films from the '90s and the '80s that were doing something so extreme and different
Look
that
at Jordan
who
Peele.
dumb people made fan bases.
Yeah, and it's like it's simple. Like you look at what Terrifier did. Like
Oh
Terrifier,
yes.
awesome gore
I
film.
love that movie.
But
Dude.
how is that not in a theater to me? Oh, it's too gory.
Exactly.
Someone told me. I'm like, fucking, what is the problem with the movie being too gory? It's just
I don't know. Hollywood's got its head up its ass too far and worried about
Yes.
touching little
The
children
thing
than
about
actually focusing.
you guys seen
It's
how
because it's not about ghosts, guys. Let's be honest. It's not about ghosts. It's not a Conjuring movie.
exactly.
Yeah.
All Hallows Eve. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Maybe it
would be
wasn't.
surprised if I tied it into the.
I didn't think that was that great.
I think what Grimm said though, like how the fuck does a movie like fucking Midsummer make the theater and people on IMDb, oh, it's a classic horror, all this shit, and then I'm just like, yo, Terrifier didn't get Terrifier had to be released straight to Netflix and like straight to DVD, and like I'm just like, how did that movie not get its fucking fair share in it just doesn't make sense, man. I agree with Gid. It's all about independent horror films now because the shit they
Yes.
release in the theater, man, like most of it makes me just fucking like sick. I'm just like,
Yes,
Yup.
dude. Thank you so much. No, what I'm saying, like indie films, like they're so colorful. They have like I've seen a couple like Rob Zombie like films too. You know that are
Hell
just
yeah.
all independent. I'm telling you, like all independent movies, like IFC or anything that these companies like attach themselves to. I'm talking about indie film festivals, bro. They be having like the best wicked, like weird shit. Like that just it's exhilarating almost, and Terrifier was one of those movies. I was so excited to see Art the Clown back in action, and they're making a sequel right now.
Can't
They're
wait.
saying that.
absolutely. Can't wait to see it. I just think it's a shame that so many more people could see it. Like we know this and we love this because we're on the inside. We're diehard fans. But like, I feel bad for the everyday Joe Blow that goes to the theater to see Midsummer when he could be going to the theater to see fucking Terrifier too. Like, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
19 Child's Play 2019 is better than the original.
Oh
I like
God.
Child's
Yeah,
Play
oh,
2019.
that. Like the Halloween movie, people were saying the same thing. They're like, "Oh, it's better than the original." I'm like, "Are you crazy?"
Oh, no.
Like, what?
Are you really? Did they really say that? That's like the first thing
I
I've heard
read
about.
Oh,
Yeah, I
No,
read
no, no.
reviews about that, dude. It made me so
Honestly-
angry. I was like, "No way, man!"
I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to shit on Halloween either. I don't completely hate it. I just hate the fans of it because they just praise the fuck out of that movie, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
But I was actually laughing the entire film. It didn't have the suspense that the first one had. It had more of that badass feeling to it. I mean, it did. I was just laughing, like the guy that got his head repeatedly beat into the stall. Like I was dying in the fucking theater seeing that guy. Like you know how people fall past the screen, like when they're on the ceiling and they like fall past the screen onto the floor.
Yeah.
And just seeing him just him repeatedly just throwing him like past the screen. It was hilarious.
I thought Michael was gonna kill the baby.
Oh yeah, motherfucker would kill anyone. It's weird though. I like how Michael kills whenever he wants.
Michael was definitely one of the stronger points of that film, but I mean, I don't know. It's just there was something missing in that movie. It's something missing from that movie that I just can't put my finger on. It felt like it was an incomplete project.
I feel like one of them was Lori. Lori, like they just there wasn't enough time like just seeing her. I wanted to see more of her. She was just there to lock and load, and that was it. Like she didn't have anything else to do besides just saying, "I'm gonna kill Michael." God damn it!
Running around trying to face Michael down.
Damn it! The thing about it though was, did you hear that Dr. Loomis impression they got for the first part of the movie?
Wait, what?
Like when they were listening to Dr. Loomis's recording, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't really like that impression of Loomis." I mean, he was like this. I saw him years ago. The evil, the darkness that was in his eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about Sartain?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I couldn't stand that fucker when he was talking in the car. You talk about that scene with the sheriff, right?
Oh yeah.
When they're about to hunt down my.
They
Oh
tried to
god,
make
no.
him the new Loomis. I didn't
I
really
want to
care
see
for
what
that.
pleasure he has.
I want to see what he talks. Did he talk to you?
What is your pleasure, sir?
What did he say?
Fuck you.
Dude, I love it when Michael kicks him and like when he's like driving in the sheriff's car, right? And he starts kicking in the back and like he kicks him into the fucking wheel.
I still like this kill though. Busted his
Yeah,
head.
That was probably the most WTF moment of the movie. Like when the doctor put the mask on, dude. I was just like,
God.
that freaked me out. I was like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah, no, it didn't work out at all. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie, it did kind of make sense. You know, it was a lot more realistic that someone else broke him out instead of Michael doing it himself, which I kind of liked. But I didn't like the fact that it was him that did that, you know, and that he had to do this and that. You know, I'm glad they killed him off early, but at the same time, it's like, damn, you're introducing like new characters and then making them completely pointless. So I don't know what you're doing with that.
And
And
it could
also
lead into
felt
the Cold of Thorn.
yeah, and then the fact that like I mean the ending it just didn't feel finished, you know. I felt like I wanted to see more H2O. It wasn't trying to be like H2O and all, but like I wanted to see like her and Michael like I wanted to see them both fall off the balcony. What the fuck?
Hell yeah.
That would have been awesome. And then they pull like a Michael Myers on each other. That would have been fun.
But to get back to the year 1990, because John really picked I was actually going to pick that movie, but I would say probably my pick. It's fine, man. No, it's a legit good movie. But I got another part 3 to talk about here. I was talking about The Exorcist 3. And I would say this is probably my favorite movie from this year because I've seen most of the other movies, and most of the other movies are actually really fantastic and everything. But I think Exorcist 3 is one of the most deeply like horrifying films of that year. Like it's a movie that I've talked about plenty of times. I have the Blu-ray of. It's a beautiful on Blu-ray. If you guys are a fan of Exorcist 3, pick up the Scream Factory release. It's beautiful, and it has plenty of interviews and plenty of features. It's got crystal clear sound and picture, and you get to see the Legion cut, which I personally was not a fan of, but you know most people are. But it's pretty cool seeing it still, you know, after all these years. But Exorcist 3, man, I just think that the characters like George C. Scott and I think he's a great lead. I think Brad Dourif does a great job.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
Actually, what was the other guy? The priest guy. What was his name? Was it? I can't remember what his name.
I think it was
Ed Flanders.
Yeah.
Talk about
Ed
the guy from
Flanders.
the
He's a
first
good
one.
actor.
Hadley
Well, he played a character from the first movie. It was like a recast though. As a father. No, his friend, the priest.
Oh shit, I don't know.
I think that was his name. But you have like some unique energy in the movie. You have just a beautiful like a beautifully dark and horrifying atmosphere. And it's one of those horror films that doesn't show you blood and gore and guts. Like it really does paint these horrifying pictures for you, and like give you description, dialogue. It's a very dialogue heavy film. The score is amazing. There's little things in the movie they put in there. Like there's a scene where George C. Scott goes to this like afterlife. He's dreaming about the afterlife, and he goes there, and there's like Fabio and Samuel Jackson there. It's just so crazy. And there's a scene where you see the Joker, a statue of the Joker, like a head of the Joker on a religious statue holding a knife for like a split second. And I didn't even catch it at first. Yeah, I didn't even catch it at first, and so I rewatched it, and I seen that scene, and it like legit was like, wow, it's creepy. And the opening scene, the Jesus Christ statue opening his eyes, and the movie being about faith and the battlings of you believe in this or you don't believe in this, battling of the faiths and beliefs. I like that idea. I like the fact that the theatrical cut has this demon in it, and thankfully it's not called Pazuzu. That was freaking ridiculous, but. You know, I like the fact that it's because it made it more intense because now we got a demon and the Gemini killer in this guy instead of just being the Gemini killer. And I thought the ending was better than the original cut. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen Exorcist 3, I really recommend it. It's
I need to watch it.
movie.
I've never seen an Exorcist movie.
Really?
Oh, dude.
I'm not, my family's afraid to watch the first one. We're afraid it's actually haunted.
You watch Cannibal Holocaust, but you're afraid to watch The Exorcist?
I don't know, man. It's different. Like, and little fun fact here, like,
horror is the
second
beholder, I guess.
Being the serial killer fanatic I am, like I'm very interested in all that kind of stuff. This was actually Jeffrey Dahmer's favorite movie.
The Exorcist?
Yeah, that also adds to the movie. Like it adds to that creepiness. Like it feels like an evil movie. Like when you watch it, you feel this evil demonic presence as you watch. One of the creepiest atmospheres
favorite movie.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because they go all the way out there with the dialogue, you know, like they say some crucial shit in that movie. I've seen the second one though. That was I skipped to the last 15 minutes because I couldn't sit through it, and it was weird. I couldn't. I was like, what the fuck is what's it called? The Heretic? I completely forgot the title, but it was.
No, that's part 2.
I think this was like one of Brad's most terrifying performances next to Chucky.
Oh, dude, Brad Dourif in the movie is like creepy. His dialogue alone is creepy, but also his just delivery of it is just amazing. But what's your thoughts on it, John?
I really dig the film. It's funny, the one thing that stands out to me about that movie more than anything else, even in the movie, is the jump scare. It's possibly the most famous jump scare in like the history of horror because you can't like not be gotten by it. I remember the first time I watched this, it was late night. I watched it on like AMC one night. And for years I had avoided it because of the sheer shittiness of Exorcist 2, The Heretic. And I stumbled across it and I was just enthralled. I was like, damn, this is a damn good movie. And probably my favorite of that series. I really like Exorcist 3, probably even more than Exorcist 1. And the scene I'm talking about, of course, is in the hospital. And it's like too quiet and like all this stuff is going on. Next thing you know, just bam, like you just get this fucking like I don't know what exactly you'd call it, but just a person just walks out in the hallway and you just get this wah, and like, dude, I remember being a kid, man, I fucking freaked out when I saw that. I was like, holy shit, that got me out of nowhere. If you haven't seen the movie, look up that jump scare. It'll scare the fucking shit out of you, even though you know it's coming. It'll still scare you.
About that scene though is like when you're watching it, it's like something feels like it's going to happen, but you're not too sure. Like they don't make it too obvious. Like nowadays, they make it obvious, especially the Conjuring movies. Like there's a jump scare happening every 5 seconds. But in this movie, it was like this slow build up. You have a cup of water with ice in it, and I've never seen a horror film make a cup of water scary. That cup of water was it breaks the ice. Terrified, and then when she walks out of the room and it comes out and it scares her, man, I think it's just one of the greatest jump scares probably in horror because it just
I agree. And like it's the jump scare I always point to when people like I hear a lot of critics nowadays say like, cheap jump scares and it's wrong and it's all this stuff and they don't understand this, that. I'm like, yo, watch Exorcist 3. Tell me that's a bad film because of a jump scare. Like, I don't understand these critics. They think they know everything about the genre when they don't know jack shit. Like, jump scares have always been a part of this genre. Like, they're not cheap. All right, listen, if you throw 100 at me, maybe. But you're telling me Friday 13th Part 2 with the cat jumping out at Adrian King in the beginning, that's not a classic movie because of a jump scare? Like, I just don't. I don't know, man. The people that shit on jump scares doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why are you a fan then? Like, you I don't understand that. But this is I think the perfect jump scare in a horror film. Like, it gets you every single time you see it. I just love it.
Yeah, I just think it's fantastic. It's like very well shot, very well made. I don't know if I can say it's better than the first movie. It's always been a weird thing where they kind of both go together. It's like I skip Exorcist 2 all the time because it does not fit the first movie. I think this one fits the first movie like a glove. Like if you watch the first movie and the movies just blend so well together. And the third movie doesn't even have much of a connection to the first movie.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it for you again because I know you haven't seen it, but really honestly, I really recommend it. It's really not much of a sequel to Exorcist 1, but it still feels like a really great sequel to it.
That's why it works.
Yeah, because it's so original. It's so new. It wasn't just going to have another little girl being possessed or another it's a little boy now being possessed, or no, it's a teenager being possessed.
Change the sex. It'll automatically be better.
I want to be a dog that gets possessed, or it's like a possessed dog and they're trying to save a dog's soul when it doesn't have a soul.
Dun, dun, dun.
Animals don't have souls.
Maybe that's a B movie out there, Demon Dog.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right, I guess we're back to Gid now.
Yeah, what's your next pick, man?
I'm picking one of my favorite movies of all time, which, maybe it's kind of obscure, maybe it's not. It's actually an inspiration for my film that I'm currently working on for the past 5 years, but I have to go with Ice Cream Man, 1995.
Oh yeah.
Clint Howard
That's-
classic.
This is about the year 1990. This isn't a 1990 stream, but you can talk about that movie if you want. But this is like about the year 1990.
Oh,
I think it was. I know. I'm sorry. Not to shoot it down. That's a great movie, but like this is about like the year 1990. But you can talk about that movie if you want. So sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Gid, why don't we talk about your other one of your favorite movies, the Troll 2?
Oh God.
That's 90.
That's on this list.
Oh God. Okay,
Talk about the fact it's not even about Troll.
I only have one word to say about that film.
In a good way. In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way, like a
like a little whiff. Like, you know, you get a little whiff of it. It's not too strong. It's just a little whiff, and it's got amazing like.
Oh my God! With that.
Like Grim, have you seen Troll 2? I think you said you've seen Troll 1, but you didn't see Troll 2.
Yeah, I've only seen one.
Oh, dude, Troll 2 is like amazing. I remember I was like sitting in the living room with my parents, and
Oh my
it was
God.
like, put on yeah, they was like put on a horror film. I was like, all right, let's watch this movie called Troll 2. And they was like, Nate, this is one of the worst movies you've ever picked for us to watch. I'm like, I know, man. I didn't know it was gonna be this goodly bad. Like, this is amazing. He was all laughing. They're like, thanks for picking a comedy. I'm like, that's not my intention. Oh, dude, it's hilarious. The dialogue alone is like comedy gold. And
You can't piss on
acting-
hospitality. I won't allow it.
I won't allow it. I'm like, this guy is serious.
They're gonna eat me. Oh my God.
And like the plot makes no sense. I'm serious, man. The plot literally is one of the hardest movies. It's literally plot-wise one of the hardest movies to follow. It brings in witchcraft and plant, or what is it, like they grow into the ground. People grown into it's weird, like that whole ground thing. I'm
And
like, what the hell is
not
this?
trolls.
What does it have to do with trolls? It's got
Goblins.
goblins. I almost said gremlins. If it had gremlins in it, probably be a movie too. But the trolls meet the goblins from this movie meet the gremlins. That'd be an amazing movie right there.
Neil Bog.
Just
But
goblins
they're not even
backwards.
trolls, they're goblins, and the masks are like horrible. They're like Halloween masks made out of like Play-Doh. It's horrible.
Yeah,
like-
I love the scene. My favorite scene in Troll 2, like the reason I love Troll 2 is the scene where she tries to seduce the guy with the corn on the cob.
Oh
And
God.
they fucking start making out through the corn on the cob, and like fucking popcorn just starts like
Oh yeah.
it's the greatest fucking scene, bro. I die every
Oh my
time.
God.
I remember the first time I seen that, I was just like, what? Like
I got Jiffy Puff in me.
they got Jiffy Pop. Yeah, it's getting Jiffy Pop steamy in here, man.
And then
I just want to know the creative genius that came up with that. Like what? Like who was like, "Yo, I know what we can do. We have them make out through corn on the cob, and then have just popcorn fly the fuck around them. That'll make this extra hot."
Popcorn.
Surprised nobody poured butter on them. Then it was just
Oh
like,
God.
scene though, that during that infamous "Oh my God" scene, like literally the girl, she's getting devoured by goblins, and she turns into goop. Like I don't understand what
I
happened
don't
to
get that
her.
either.
She turns into like this green goop out of nowhere. I'm like, what the hell is
it
this?
starts coming down his head. Oh my god!
Oh my God.
The fly is like right there, dude. There's like a fly on his forehead. It's like moving around. I'm like, this is like just the most classic freaking bad horror film you could ever see.
It is, dude.
It really is. It's the best bad. I think this is the best bad movie ever. Like I even think it's better than The Room. Like I love the scene where they're eating dinner and they haven't eaten in days, and the little kid like somehow freezes time and then just decides to take a piss all over the fucking table. Like
Yeah.
that's just
Tommy
gold.
Wiseau was my god.
Nate, you got to do the dad with the hunger pains.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna tighten my belt so I don't experience hunger pains.
When I top my belt, I don't experience hunger pains.
No, I'm gonna tighten my belt by one loop so I don't experience hunger pains.
Oh god.
Dude, no, I love the worst actor in the movie is the sister. Like she's the worst actress I've ever seen in my life. Like her introduction, she's like, if my dad catches you in here, he'll cut off your little nuts and eat them. And I was just like, I remember I was just like, what the fuck? Like, where did they find this girl on the side of the fucking road? Like, where they're just like, you want to be in a movie? You're hot, you know? Like
the boyfriend's cringy too. He's like, "Oh yeah, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, this is horrible, man." And like he just pops up in her bedroom out of nowhere. I'm like, "What the what?"
Oh my god.
what about the they have the angry mob out in front of the house and they say, "You better come out or we'll kill you." And then there's just like a brief pause, and then he just goes, "Violently."
Oh my god, I'm dying.
We'll
dude.
kill you. But he had to add violently.
Violently.
It's supposed to be intense, but totally missed the mark.
Oh my god, absolutely.
Oh my God.
That movie is just an all-time classic though. Like that, everyone should see that movie.
Oh my
Absolutely. I think also that one lady in the movie, like that witch lady, like she every time she acts, she like opens her eyes and like opens her mouth like all like this, like yes, and the god and the trolls are out there. I'm just like, dude, this is
They'll
just
devour
horrible.
you.
It's horrendous. Horrendous in a good way though. I think it's just like it's miles better than like, you know, any other supposedly so bad as good movie. Like I think that's better than like Epic Movie and Disaster Movie. I think that's way
I
better
still like
than those
Thanks
movies.
Killing though.
What?
I like Thanks Killing though.
Oh,
Gobble gobble.
I got something you don't got, Turkey. What's that, Durin? A vagina?
Oh my god.
You said that in the chat, man. I was like in a fucking parade with my little league team when you sent me that, and I listened to that and I just burst out laughing. Everyone was like, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, "I can't show you."
My
you've been
god.
stuffed.
That was good, clean comedy, man.
Gosh
Yeah.
dang, Cheryl. This coffee tastes like shit.
I need to see that.
Take a dump in it?
Aren't there like 3 of them?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
No,
I
they
gotta check
skipped
those
the
out.
movie. They like did 1, then they did 3. They didn't even make a part 2. They skipped part 2.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
I want to see
What?
more Turkey again.
Are they really that fucking high?
Yeah, they skipped part 2. They did a part 3. They just skipped part 2. They said fuck the rules.
Oh
Honestly,
my
after you see
god.
Thanksgiving, you're just like, dude, like they are that high. Like that's really the answer.
Did they even mention that in the beginning of the 3rd one? They're just like, fuck part 2. Who needs part 2 when you have 3?
Honestly, don't remember.
3rd time's the charm.
Oh yes.
I gotta check that out.
You got a pick from the 90s that you like talk about, 1990.
Have we
You're not-
talked about a Night of the Living Dead?
No, but you
that
can
90
bring
we
it up.
haven't. No, that's awesome one though.
Yes, dude. But probably one of the. I totally forgot about that remake too, man. Like, it's so identical to the original. Like, you could just probably watch the original and just say, "Screw it, man. It's just black and white. That's all." But like, honestly, it's. I don't know, man. There's something about the remake that I just loved. It was like the first remake I've ever seen too. Actually, it's pretty nuts. But like, there was that one part. What was that? Did they do this in the original? I forgot. But like, they were hanging on the trees and shit, and I can't remember from there because it's been a long time since I've seen that. But they were like hanging like Charlie.
Oh god.
I don't know. They were like
Yeah,
hanging up
forever.
zombies and like beating them with bats and shit.
Oh
No,
yeah,
they
like,
don't do that in the
that
original.
was in the original, wasn't it? No, it wasn't.
It'd
Oh,
be banned
God.
if that happened.
I
Like,
think
yeah,
it's a great movie though.
It is. No one ever talks about it either. It's
Yeah,
That's the
they
thing.
did a Blu-ray. I think was it Twilight Time did a Blu-ray of it, and it sold out in like a day. So like I never got in on that fucking Blu-ray because it was like stupidly priced and like it was gone within hours. So I never got in on that Blu-ray. I do have the DVD somewhere. I don't know. I always dug that movie because of a few reasons. One, they make the lead heroine an actual lead heroine.
Yep.
Like in the original movie, she's a fucking just like useless like. Oh, with Johnny's out in the cold.
We have to get Johnny.
I'm just like, shut this bitch up. And it eventually fucking Dwayne Jones punches her in the fucking face. So I was just like, all right, I mean, they listened to me, you know, I got what I wanted. But in this movie, she's very strong, capable, final girl.
yes.
I loved fucking Tony Todd in this movie.
Oh
Yes.
Tom Towles from
Bill
Henry
Moseley.
Portrait of a Serial Killer plays the Cooper or Hooper or whatever. This has a great cast, and it's actually directed by Tom Savini. So
Yes.
I think it's badass. I think it has good effects, and I really wish he had come back to direct another movie. This is like his only movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Really? Dang.
The only movie he ever directed. Yeah, I think so.
Tom Savini is
Wow.
the god of makeup.
Well, he just started his career. I can't believe he like just vanished like that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like production problems with this movie, because I know he got Romero to come back write the screenplay.
Yeah.
So this movie has Romero's blessing, and like honestly think the little things they change are actually like very good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that midnight movie feel that the original has, because it's
No.
so like gritty and black and white, but I think like overall it's a really good remake because it takes the things that the original kind of flounders at and then just fixes them like that. It's a quick fix, and like I think it's a good modernized version. I kind of dig Night of the Living Dead 90.
I have
Yeah.
to agree with you, brother.
Agreed. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that to me, I'm alone probably in this, but I think both movies are kind of the same. Like I love them both equally. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the first movie does amazing things because I used to give I used to give the first movie a lot of flack, but I actually really enjoy it nowadays, and I
It's
think
creepy
it's
to
like
me.
a fantastic watch. Yeah, and like the 1990 version is like it improves on some things, and even though I think the first movie is a very impactful, very just I don't know, it's a very mean movie, very mean spirited movie. I think the remake really did some different so that I actually really enjoyed.
The
I like
ending, though.
the ending I thought was still pretty creepy, and the what you're talking about Grim Reapers, the images of the dead bodies hanging from the trees. I like that scene because it kind of makes Barbara kind of wonder who really the animals are in this situation. Like, are the zombies really the animals, or the people? Like, what is left of civilization after this disaster? Like there's just a
Right.
message there that I see.
Yeah. It kind of. I noticed how. Oh, go on. Go on.
No, I know you're fine. What did you notice?
I noticed like how it's kind of like a like okay like after everything's over and you get to like at least the last 10 minutes like what you're talking about, it's almost like a Walking Dead, you know, like what you're talking about, like who the real animals are.
Yeah, it
Is
makes me
Walking
want to
Dead.
see a Dawn of the Dead remake, like a sequel to this. Not like a Dawn of the Dead remake, but like a Night of the Living Dead Part 2 to this movie. Like it's a good setup. And if they would have made a sequel, I wouldn't have been disappointed, honestly. If they would have brought Tom Savini back and George Romero back and said Night of the Living Dead Part 2, 1990, like 2, 3, I would actually dig that because I thought that Tom Savini did a very good job with an atmosphere in this movie.
Yeah,
The
they should have made it a trilogy.
Yeah, like
Hell yeah.
I think the idea was to do that, but this movie, I don't know if it did too well. Actually,
I'm looking up how
Nah.
it did right now.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
supposed
it kind
to
of bombed. It had a budget of 4.2, made 5.8. So yeah, it didn't make much money at all.
Yeah.
That's such a shame.
not
Such
even
a
really a
shame.
hit. It barely made back its budget. But like the original plan was to make the remakes of the Dead trilogy in the 90s and early 2000s, but this didn't make too much money, so Dawn of the Dead had to get postponed. And unfortunately,
Ah,
it's like you got this perfect remake. You got Dawn of the Dead, which is also a perfect remake. Then you got Day of the Dead, which is like ugh, just all over those
Horrible
two.
remake.
Wow, man.
I
And
love
out
the
of
original
all
Day of the Dead,
Day
though.
of the Dead gets the sequels. I'm like, out of all these good remakes, or out of all these remakes, Day of the Dead gets the sequels, and they're horrible. I'm like, this is bad.
right.
That's so true. Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I think Night of the Living Dead 1990 is a good choice. Good pick, Grim Reaper. That's a great movie right there. I think it's
Amazing
Hell
pick.
yeah.
I also
All right.
love the score. It has a great score to it. Like I
Yes,
love
it
that
does.
score, especially the ending song and the
Yeah.
poster is amazing. I love the way the poster looks too.
I feel like they could have changed the beginning though, you know. I wanted to see more of because the boyfriend with the glasses at the beginning who gets completely like knocked the fuck out.
That's Bill Moseley.
Yeah,
that's
Chuck.
Bill Moseley.
Yes,
weird.
yes.
It's
I
weird
forgot about.
though. It's weird though. Not to interrupt you, but it always struck me as weird how the people dress. That's just one thing that kind of bugged me in this movie. They dress kind of like how they did in the original, and it felt
Yes.
kind of weird to me because, like in the beginning of the movie, like does anybody? I don't know if it was like that in 1990, but I don't really think people dressed like that in 1990. Like a 60s attire or something like that.
That's what made me like the original so much because of how identical they were. Not like identical, but like there was something about these two that were like that had like a huge similarity to each other.
Yeah.
And usually I would shit on a movie for being completely like Cabin Fever. Have you guys seen the remake?
Yeah.
Almost like that, like in Psycho. But like I don't know, there's something about Night of the Living Dead that did it right, and I guess
Yep.
it just worked. There's no explanation behind it. It just worked. Psycho didn't. Cabin Fever. Well, I kind of liked it, but I know that's not a '90s movie, but I fucking love that score in the remake of Cabin Fever, even though we're
I
not
did
talking
hear
about
that's
that.
the one positive thing I heard about that movie is it has a great score, great
It
effect.
was amazing. And then they took it down. YouTube took it down. So I'm like over here sending threat messages to YouTube like, fuck you. Fuck you. Good score though. But back to Night of the Living Dead, man. I'm telling you, it's such a good remake. At least one of the better shot for shot. Is it shot for shot? I don't know. Is it considered?
No, not really. I mean, they change a lot of the characters. The ending is kind of changed around. I
Yeah.
think they change a lot in it, and I think that's why it worked. I think it because a lot of people. I think the people that don't like the original find it very fucking depressing, and they find it very
Yeah.
fucking amateur. Like that's the two biggest critiques. And I'm like, all right. First of all, Romero was an amateur at the time. He wasn't like it's the same Romero that we go on to see years later. He grew as a filmmaker,
Yeah.
and I think that
Right.
they had a problem with the barber character being shitty, and then of course the controversial ending where Ben gets shot. That remake doesn't really have any of that. The remake, Tony Todd does become a zombie, and I believe that the lead character she shoots the Cooper character in the fucking face. She shoots Tom Howell, Tom Towles, if I could spit that out. But yeah, she kills his ass. So yeah, it's very different, I think. And I think
Yeah.
what it changes, it changed perfect.
God damn you! God damn all of you! So,
Oh
John,
yeah.
what's your second pick, man?
Oh man, all right. So I'm kind of between two Stephen King adaptations right here. There's an obvious one I could go with, which is Stephen King's It. But I really enjoy Graveyard Shift, which also came out in 1990. Would you guys want to do like brief thoughts on the Graveyard Shift if you've all seen it?
I've never seen Graveyard Shift, but I heard a lot of great
Mm-mm.
things about it.
I've only seen bits and pieces. It wasn't Brad Dourif in that.
Yeah, he plays the exterminator. He's great in it.
Oh yeah, and then how does he? I forgot how he dies. Doesn't he like get crushed or something?
Yeah, he gets crushed by a fucking gravestone. It's incredible, man. I really enjoy that
Yeah.
one. But we don't have to go in depth if you all haven't seen it. But I guess all right, then that makes my decision a lot easier. Stephen King's It from 1990, a big topic even to this day in the horror community because of the remake and now Chapter 2 coming out in September, I believe. Um, I will be honest, I was not a big fan of that remake, and I really don't care about part two. But man, when it comes to this particular story, I love this particular adaptation of it, man. Tommy Lee Wallace, I believe, who also gave us Halloween 3 and Fright Night Part 2. Yeah, Stephen King's It, man. What are your all's thoughts?
I liked it. Well, I liked the kids version. I didn't like the grown up part.
I'm the same way. That story to me only works when they're kids because it's like you meet them in a Stand By Me fashion where it's kids on bikes, back when that shit was actually going, like today you have stuff like Stranger Things that's trying to force and be like that stuff. But this was the time period where that shit was really clicking on all cylinders. And I just love the cast. I like these kids a lot more. Like Jonathan Brandis, may he rest in peace. I forget the kid's name who plays Ben. I think the kid who plays Ben does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I love this cast, man. And Seth Green is in it in an early role, who I also love. I just love this cast, and I love the idea of these kids banding together to face their fears. Like I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
All right, we had to drop out a little bit early. We'll see you later, Gid. Thanks for joining the stream, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you, Gid.
See ya, bro. Oh, what was I gonna? All right, no, go on.
Oh no, y'all are good. I was done. Y'all want to give your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I know you hated the remake. I love the characters in the remake, but the problem with, I know we're talking about the original, but one thing I had to say about the remake, because I do agree about disliking the remake, was the fact that, well, I mean, it's not really a remake, but it's that, I mean, it's based back in the 80s, and I love that, but I don't like the fact that like everything, like at least the first 45 minutes to 50 minutes is like all jump scares. Okay, not the jump scares, but like it feels like a horror movie, and I know it is a horror movie, but towards at least the last act or at least the last hour of the movie, everything just completely feels like a DC comic movie, and it doesn't feel like an 80s movie at all. It feels like like I don't know, like a futuristic type of thing here, you know? That's what it felt. It felt very futuristic, and it didn't feel like. And what I liked about the original was that it had the '80s vibe. You got that werewolf, and you got Seth Green. You like that part. I love that part with the werewolf. It feels so '80s.
Yeah.
You know. even though it's 90s, but it had that 80s feel to it, and I liked that, you know? And it had that Goosebumps feel, and I wanted that in the It movie. And you do get that kind of, but like it's just, it feels like a futuristic version of Goosebumps because you got the CGI in this generation. But in this one, what I liked was the campy feel. You know, you got the campiness, and you got Pennywise, who's not CGI. Oh, I love that. And you get dialogue. You get way, way, way more dialogue with Tim Curry versus, Bill Skarsgård and all that. Which I
Yeah,
don't mind.
and don't worry, man. We could talk remake too because I feel like it's very like when you bring up this original movie, a lot of people point to the remake and say, this is what did it better. I personally don't agree, but like I would, no judging or bashing of anyone's opinions. I would never Do you
Yeah.
you prefer the remake? Like, and if you do, tell me why.
I shit, this is like a tough one, but I have
Yeah,
to prefer the remake at least because like the characters were I love the characters' dialogue and stuff, I like comedy and stuff. Sometimes it works in horror, sometimes it doesn't, but like it was just a lot more powerful in my opinion.
yeah,
But all what I liked about the original too was like how like I don't know, it kind of it was just as campy. It was just super campy and the remake tried doing that, but it's kind of a mix here. I don't know, man. Like the remake tried being campy, but it didn't work because the trailers portrayed him as being like this, I don't know, like this cliche conjuring character, like boo, and I'm gonna run away and barely speak, and try to be all creepy. But he tries to be like this Joker dude, and he's like doing all this weird shit, jumping around and flying, and I'm like, okay, but I'd rather have him like be like this 80s campy style instead of having this futuristic look, because it doesn't work. It feels like a DC comic movie, like a DC comic spinoff from or maybe something from Marvel or some shit. I don't know. It's just
yeah. And
weird.
like I think it's incredible when you look at how much money that remake made. Like
Yeah.
it's incredible, man. And the original, it was straight to TV. So
Yeah.
who knows how much money that movie would have made had it been released in the theater? But it was straight to TV. It was a 2 hour. It was like a 2 part miniseries. And like I just think about it, I'm just like, man, like people like the original it as it is, but like imagine how many people could have really gotten to love the original movie. Maybe you would have gotten sequels in the 90s if this movie
Yeah.
went to a theater. But it's another classic case of I don't know why, but it was not in a theater.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like the original had some pretty disturbing imagery. I mean, especially for its rating, just because it's PG doesn't mean it's like completely tame. I mean, that part where in the adult version where she's talking to the old lady, was it Beverly's grandma or some shit? I forgot. I'm
I
forgetting
believe
someone's.
so. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
believe
like
so.
that part was disturbing. Like that was like what got under my skin.
Yeah, I think Tim Curry was so good at that, man. Like
Yeah,
Tim
Tim.
Curry scared the shit out of me. Like in that remake, Bill Skarsgård, I feel like he went for a much different approach to the character, which I respect. I think he tried something new, and I appreciate always trying something new with different characters. But like,
Right.
I think he was trying to be very friendly, and like he's just very like, ha ha, like laughing along with the kid. But I thought Tim Curry was just like
He
almost
was
like
like
pedophilish in some ways. So like he's
he
just
was.
like, we're not strangers anymore now, are we, George? Very wise of you, Georgie. But that's scary, man. I was like,
It
what the
is.
fuck? It's just, oh man, it gets under my skin. But brother Nate, man, we haven't heard your opinions. What are your opinions, man?
I was just over here kind of thinking about it, man, because when this remake came out, I was saying I was honestly not looking forward to it. I was like, this is going to be a bad movie. I'm not looking forward to it. It has CGI. And all these people on Facebook were kind of bashing me. They're like, well, it's not a remake. It's a re-adaptation. Like, fine. I think it just didn't look good as a movie. Like, I didn't care. It's like, whatever. But I got to say, it's one of those movies that when I seen it in theater, I kind of had to swallow my words because I think I prefer the remake only because I think they created a better it just felt more cinematic, if that makes sense. It felt
Yeah.
more like
Well, it was. It definitely was.
Yeah.
yeah, like the original felt like a TV movie with effects that I don't know. It just I love the original and I think it's a great movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's a great movie, but I feel like when you compare it to the remake and you see how the budget was increased and how I feel like in the original movie I liked the cast. I just didn't really think they really worked the greatest as a team. I thought in the remake you got to feel the chemistry a little bit more better than the original.
Yeah.
Me personally, um, I liked how the remake was kind of more 80s, and then the original was kind of more the 60s. But I don't know, the 80s I can have a little bit more fun with, but the 60s was also a pretty fun little thing they did in that. But I don't know, it's hard because I think the original has a better Pennywise, because I think Scars. I'm not saying that Bill Skarsgård did a bad job. I think he actually did a pretty freaking good job in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I think that the original, what made Pennywise originally scary, it's kind of like Michael Myers. And, it's a debate about Michael Myers, about what the scariest version of Michael Myers is, and it's all about, I guess, preference. But for me, I would prefer where and it makes more sense. He's trying to lure these kids in and then take them out. Whereas in the remake, he's more serious. He's more obviously scary, and it's like, so it doesn't really make sense why he would do that. It's like the Thing prequel. Like the Thing in that movie was so dumb, and it knew nothing about how the original Thing thought. And
Yes.
yeah, and
Yes.
in that movie, the problem is that the Thing kind of just starts attacking people out of nowhere for no reason. It's just totally blows its cover. Whereas in the original, it made sense. It made it scary because you didn't really know who the Thing was. It only showed itself when it had to. And I don't know. I think the original has better acting. I think it has. This makes sense. It has better acting from the performers in the original, the actors. Like I like Seth Green. I like the guy that played Bill,
Right.
and pretty much the entire cast. Beverly, everybody in the movie did a great job acting wise than the remake. But I think the remake formed a team a little bit better than the original, and I thought the remake just had a style to it, which I wasn't really used to. It had jump scares, and yeah, it had CGI. But I feel like it did some unique stylistic stuff too. I think it kept it interesting, and it kept it flavorful, and it kept it new, and it wasn't totally ripping off the original movie, or the original adaptation, I should say. And I don't
Yes.
know, it's a mixed bag for me. I love both movies for different reasons, but I think if we're looking at it as a movie wise, a movie film adaptation, I think the remake is probably a little bit more better. Just me personally, but I respect you guys' opinions.
I respect both of your opinions too. This is why I like this horror clan thing. It's like we can disagree, but like at the end of the day, it's like I want to hear why you liked it more. You know what I mean? Like, and there's
Yeah.
never any bad blood or you're a fucking idiot or anything like that, because it shouldn't be like that. It should be like everyone respects everyone's opinions. Like
Right, and be
that's
chill
why I
about
love this, man. I appreciate doing these. But yeah, like my biggest thing, going back to what you were saying about Michael Myers, like a lot of people say, oh, the thing that makes him scary is that you don't know. And like I know in that sequel, the chapter 2, that they look in the trailers like they might gonna be explaining what and where Pennywise's origin from. Like there's a scene where she's like, "Oh yeah, my father was in the circus," and you see it's him, and I'm just like, "Don't go that route. Don't
it.
explain to me who the fuck Pennywise was." Like I feel like if that movie it focuses on that a lot, it's gonna bomb. I think it's gonna just be like, you
Yeah.
know,
I feel
that's
Yeah.
like
just me though. I don't know.
it does look like they got a great cast lined up, but I don't know. The trailers really aren't doing much for me, to be honest. But I don't know. I said the same thing about the original movie and ended up liking it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just
But
think like that story only works with them as kids. Like I just don't like the idea of them being adults and fighting him. Like it's to me it's
Yeah.
the innocence of a kid and the things that kids terrified about and the adults can't help them because they don't believe them. Like that adds such a better layer of terror and tension and atmosphere upon your product. And then like when they're adults, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. I know a lot of people are shitting themselves with excitement, but I'm just not one of them. Like I don't.
yeah,
Yeah. I
It
think
just
one of the reasons is because like, well, I don't okay, this is hard to explain. Uh I think the adult version, like they're just completely different characters. Like they weren't like they weren't so open, they weren't talking like the normal human being would. Like
that's
fuck
true.
shit, they were so tame. I didn't like the adult version. That's one of the reasons why. And from what I've seen in the trailers of it too, I really hope that they stick to their original characters after all that. I mean, even though all that shit happened to them, I mean, hey, they defeated Pennywise, they lived, I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I just want to see more like them talking like real people instead of being like this normal, depressed, fucking, I don't know how to explain it. You know how a depressed person talks, like, oh yeah, man,
Great actors though. They got great actors in the original, and that's what surprised me about the second act is like, well, the second part really. It's just like the actors just were great. They got great actors, but they just I don't know. I don't think you can just
Yeah.
They were very monotone. You're right. They're very
Yeah.
monotone.
very bland.
Yes, bland. I can't believe it was so hard to explain just one word. Wow. But yeah, bland.
Yeah, I mean they got good actors for that remake part 2, and I have no doubt that they'll do good in it. And I have no doubt that the movie's gonna be a fucking box office hit. Like it's gonna make stupid money. I just personally, I'm not. For one thing, I'm not excited because I didn't really like part 1. But the second thing, that trailer, like if they fucking go into who and the origin, I'll fucking hate it probably automatically. Like I don't need to hear that. Like it's not fucking scary if you give me Pennywise's origin. He's a fucking creepy clown. That's all it's got to be. Do I know anything about the Terrifier's origin? Nope. Do I have to? Nope. Don't care. I don't care if it's fucking, that's just me though. I don't know.
I think the whole Terrifier movie was his origin story, to be honest. Like I asked the actor who plays David Thornton, the guy who plays Art the Clown.
Yeah.
I was asking him, I'm like, dude, so like I know there doesn't have to be like an origin story behind it because I'd rather them not do that shit. But like if you think about it, in All Hallows Eve, I mean, he was a clown from hell and he's kind of like Pennywise in a way, not really, but like I'm wondering if Terrifier was his origin story, if that's like how he started and shit, And
yeah, and even though it's like not Terrifier's not a movie that explains that much. Like it's just he's a killer clown just for the sake of being a fucking killer clown. Like that's all it has to be. Like I don't understand. I feel like
Halloween,
Hollywood always wants to explain when we don't want that as horror fans, man. We just want to see we want to see Art the Clown do his thing. Like that's what we want to see.
Yeah. I'm
yes.
Do that.
And speaking of,
sorry.
Go on. No, go on, bro. That's good.
I was just gonna say the thing about the original It though was that they only like barely hinted at a possible origin, and that's the scene where he's talking about there was these accidents that were happening and throughout the years, and that it kind of just only explains he comes out every so often, every so many years, and they hinted a little bit like he's maybe a creature, maybe, but there's nothing like in your face obvious, and I don't know why remakes have to be so. I agree with you guys. I just don't know why remakes have to make it so complicated. Like I don't think A Clockwork Orange could be made nowadays without them explaining what's going on. Like
definitely
saying,
not.
this is why it's all like this. Like it's not have to be like that. It's kind of just make it the way it is.
100%, man.
And speaking of Hollywood, though, I know I hate this shit on CGI because this is what this generation relies on. But every franchise they have to bring back, they have to use CGI. Even a fucking movie that doesn't need CGI, they somehow just find a way to just throw it all in there, and it has to be the worst CGI ever. I mean, come on now.
And dude, I'm the same way. I fucking hate CGI, man. Like
they fucked up our Saw franchise, man. I'm telling you, if Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson pull this shit off, they better, man. They better.
Dude, that's the fucking strangest news of all time. Like, why do those two guys like that? Just sounds like someone made it up. Like, it just sounds bizarre to me. Like, I like no disrespect to Chris Rock or Sam Jackson, but like, really, like that they want to bring that series, like, fucking odd, man. I don't know. Like,
I'm following the director David too, or the director of Saw 2, 3, and 4, and like so far it looks pretty good. I just really hope that like it's as gory as the first 7 because I was not impressed with Jigsaw. They did not need to use CGI.
Jigsaw was a piece of shit.
Yeah, the thing though, Jigsaw, I used to say was okay. I don't even know anymore. It's kind of a waste of time, honestly.
I literally couldn't even get through Jigsaw. I tried to watch it at work one night, and like literally, like this was back when I was doing security, so like. There's literally nothing better to do sometimes than to watch a shitty movie, and like I couldn't even get through that fucking movie. Like,
why, bro?
Like, why?
Well, I mean, you can, go on, bro. I'm gonna let you rant on this one.
Dude, I got
Um,
to the scene where the girl, she had to inject one of the needles into her, and one was like poison, one was silicone, and one was the antidote or something. I don't remember. And for some fucking reason, somebody decides to stab her with all three. It's just like, I'm done. I fucking hit end fucking stream, and I was livid. I was like, yo, done. Don't need to see it. And it was CG blood again, man. I don't. I completely. It
oh,
takes me
dude.
out of films like CG gunshots and like you know. There's no bigger Romero mark than me, but like when you get the
Oh,
shit like
dude.
Survival of the Dead and
Oh
some of
god.
the CGI in that fucking movie, it's
Oh, God.
it's depressing. Like it gets
Yeah.
very fucking depressing. But yeah, please go on with your CGI because it's just bad. It's so
No, what
bad.
I was about to say, bro, was the fucking writing in that movie, man. The Spirit Brothers, I was actually watching Predestination the other day, and I was like, wow, I don't like sci-fi movies that much, but that was actually really good. And I've seen
Yeah.
Daybreakers, not a big fan of it, but it was pretty well made. Not the movie I hate, it's just like it's not my cup of tea, you know. But the thing about fucking Jigsaw was the writing. It was the script. The characters weren't like they didn't interact with each other as much. They only spoke whenever they wanted to. Whenever they spoke like these bland fucking weird lines like, "Oh, we need to get out of here. Oh, he wants us to do this. Oh, but he wants us to do that." It's like, where's your personality, man? I mean, I legit like the detective side. I couldn't get through it because like all they would do is they would have like these low key conversations, like they were
Yeah.
whispering, mumbling. That's all they would do. They would always just mumble and shit. Like there's that one part he goes up to the corner girl, the girl that was obsessed with Jigsaw, and he's like, "So, where were you the night Malcolm was gone?" And she was like, "Home." And he's like, "Cool," and just walks away. And I'm sitting there like, what kind of dialogue was that? Like that is just some shitty writing right there. But when you were talking about the CGI blood, yeah, the CGI was horrible. The blender scene was one of the worst CGI I've ever seen. The laser trap was probably the worst execution I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never laughed so hard since
The thing
fucking.
about the Saw movies is that like every movie after part 2 is the same. It's about a detective trying to solve this and some boring cop stuff and some
Like
boring
how,
characters and
yeah, like
not being
Hellraiser.
very entertaining. Yeah, it's like Hellraiser. Like after part 3, or no, after part 3, because I think part 4 is okay, but most people hate part 4. But
Yeah,
after part 3, really things started getting pretty similar in that series.
yeah, like Inferno was okay. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was actually like a Silent Hill movie more than anything else. And then 6, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with 6, dude. Like, what the hell was that? Like, everything was a dream or it was like some fucking
The
hallucination.
one with the fucking cult is like really bad. Was that Deader? Hellraiser Deader?
Yes, that one was horrible.
That's a fucking piece of shit. That's like people that say, "Oh, the Hellraiser sequels are all bad after 3." Like that one, and the one they made because of the Hellraiser was it Revelations? Those are the
Yes.
worst ones. The one where it's like they're on the computer game is like hilariously bad.
Oh,
Um,
they ripped off Saw so bad with that. I mean, you got the
yeah,
guy who created the fucking replicas and shit. And I'm sitting there like, that's totally Tobin Bell. They could have just got him for a role.
Right.
yeah, man. That fucking the one with the cold is like probably my least favorite Hellraiser movie. That's a
Yeah,
fucking
I
piece of
agree,
shit.
bro. Yeah, no, I remember it took me 10 times to actually sit through that. The 10th time was actually when I said, fuck it, I'll watch the rest of it. And it was just the way it was shot and the way it looked, it just, I don't know, man. You know how Dumb and Dumber 2 looked like a fucking straight to DVD film? Like it looked like
Yeah.
at least that's what it felt like, but it felt so much worse. Like I completely, like, I don't know, like a $5 budget up Sleepaway Camp 3 or some shit. I don't know. And those sequels were pretty bad too. I can't lie.
Oh,
Fucking Angela.
John, no, he said it. No, I'm joking. No.
Everyone's entitled to their opinions, Nate. See, for all the horror fans watching, I
No, no,
love
no,
fucking
no.
Sleepaway Camp 3. No, don't worry, Grim. No worries. I'm gonna defend you here. Don't worry.
Sleepaway Camp 3 was awesome because of I mean that one black guy character, I forgot his name, but that
Webb
part
from
where
Detroit.
I
Dude,
yeah.
he
never.
has the
I
fucking
can't say
boom
nothing.
box. I'm dying.
I mean,
Yes, and he's all like, suck my dick, Spick.
Yeah.
And they start fighting in the fucking cafeteria. Yeah, that part. I love that I love that one. But
The
Sleepaway Camp
characters in
2.
that movie are so underrated. Oh my god, man. It fucking
It
because
was
they're
like a
all
breakfast club. It It was almost like a Breakfast Club too.
Well, no, I think the second one is the Breakfast Club, where it's like they're all named Judd and Emilio and Allie and shit. But the part 3 is it's part the Brady Bunch and it's part the Munsters. So like there's Alice, Jan, Bobby, and then the Munsters. It's like Herman and Lily run the camp, and like, dude, I'm a mark for that movie. I love it. I actually have the original one sheet of part 3 in my basement. I love that fucking film. I hope to one day meet Miss Pamela Springsteen, but
Yes. It was.
I hate Return to Sleepaway Camp. That's the one I hate.
Yes, that's the one I was trying to talk about.
I thought so.
It was
I thought so.
Yeah, no, 1 and 3 I liked. I've only, well, actually, wait, what was it? The first one. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Return to Sleepaway Camp was actually the first one I saw, and it was
Holy
too slow paced.
shit.
Yeah, no, it wasn't so good. I mean, the part where like, like she returns. I mean, they got the original actor back, and then all of a sudden, like, she's over here laughing at the screen, and then all of a sudden she gives like that really weird blank face, and it was just a turnoff. I was like, what?
Dude, that's the
But
shittiest twist ending in the history of fucking film. Like
yeah,
that.
and then they got the guy. What was it? Was it Floss? What was it? It was on his dick or some shit, and she was like driving away, or it was something that was
Yeah, they
tried to
rip
rip
up the
off.
fucking kill from part 3 where fucking she ties him to a tree, and I'm just like, yo, you just did that in the last fucking movie. What the hell are you ripping that off for? And then that
Yes,
motherfucker director wants to go and bash those sequels. I met him, man. I didn't like him at all. He's a fucking asshole.
for
I
real.
only seen the first movie. I actually really loved it, but I want to see parts 2 and 3. I think I'll skip 4.
Yeah, I think you'll fucking love
Yeah,
2 and 3, Nate. If you watch 2 and 3, I think you'd like call me on the phone and be like, dude, these are great movies. Like,
yeah. Honestly, like, I mean, even though I didn't like 2, I'm just saying, like, they're just fun little campy flicks. They're like the Wrong Turn franchise, you know, like they kind of just continue on their own little tradition, like the Saw movies did.
yeah.
Speaking of Wrong Turn, that's an underrated franchise. I know they get so much hate, but it's like it's almost like this. I don't know. There's just some comparison I've seen between the two with Sleepaway Camp and Wrong Turn. You know, they kind of
I
like.
only really like the first 2 Wrong Turn movies. After 2, it's fucking I can't even get through. I
Oh,
remember
3 was like,
the
yeah,
third one's a piece of shit.
yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, and I'm the lead character. I was like, really? The shittiest movie and one of the shittiest ones in the series, and I'm the lead character. It's crazy, man. And the guy
I mean,
only does get punched for the whole movie.
I know. And then fucking the lead actress, Janet Montgomery. I mean, she should have had a lot more to work with on the script, to be honest, because like they completely ripped off the first character, like from the very
4 is
original.
fun though, man.
The girl
4
with the
is
white
a
tank
fun
top.
idea, like a fun little idea with lots of gore. I think that's a fun little slash.
Which one's the prequel?
The fourth one.
Part 4, and then there's the sequel to the prequels too. There's part 5 and 6.
Oh, Bloodlines. That one sucked, bro. I mean, they ripped off the Death from Sleepaway Camp
Bro.
3.
John, literally in part 5, they walk off the set in a shot. Like you could see where the street cuts off, and you could see where it's like a gravel road of a set, and there's wires
Oh
taped
my,
to the floor.
yes.
And they're walking. They just walked off the set, and they left it in the movie. I'm like, what is this? You can
Right,
tell
and
offset because after they get out of the city, out of the set, it's dark. Like everything is they're in this dark room. It's a set. I'm like, this is horrible, man.
right, and you know what's so weird about it is the fact like the way the movie is shot. You were right about it. Like there's no tone at all. There's no atmosphere. It's just they're just like, okay, we're just gonna shoot this and we're gonna see how it turns out and blah, and yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, and then
Like
6 was disappointing. It had potential, but it was really disappointing.
with 6, I mean, it had such an amazing atmosphere. I can't believe
It did. No
wasted
lie.
that.
No lie. It really did. It improved over part 5's atmosphere, definitely.
Yeah, it even had better atmosphere than 4. But like honestly though, like the characters in that one, man, I could not sit through. Like they were so bland. Like
And it was
wow.
just like a more boring movie than anything.
Oh my god, and the music choice for that too. I mean, they took a lot of soundtrack from Joyride 3 and a couple of previous Wrong Turn
Oh
movies.
God, Joyride 3.
Roadkill.
Joyride 3 and Jeepers Creepers 3 are 2 pretty bad movies.
Joyride 3, man, I'm telling you, I remember that one part where he's like, "You have a choice." I forgot. He just it rips off Saw way too much. I don't know what's the guy's fascination. What's his name? Declan O'Brien. I like the guy. I think he's creative, but he picks the wrong franchises and he decides to turn them into like these torture porn type of films. And Joyride is one of those, but they don't explore that concept too much. They like to do more of a Joyride 2 did explore that concept, but they did pretty okay, with that one. But this one was a bit like overkill with the whole Hostel Saw crossover thing. It's just it didn't really work.
At that time, there was like movies like Rest Stop and the Joyride 2, and then there was like the Jeepers, not really Jeepers. I don't know why I brought that up, but like like Rest Stop and Wolf Creek.
Yes,
It's another one.
those
Actually,
are
really
really good movies.
Yeah,
Wolf
Rest
Creek.
Stop, Dead Ahead, and Wolf Creek are like really freaking solid horror films.
Oh
in that
god,
era.
that Dead Ahead was so fucked up.
Yeah, I thought Dead Ahead was like a creative idea, such a like original thing that I've always wanted. Like, why is there never a movie about a rest stop? It's creepy. You're gonna go stop at this random place to go and take a piss where anybody could attack you. But it kind of felt like
Yes.
Joyride. It felt like they took the Joyride. Like, it could have been easily called Joyride Dead Ahead. Like, it could have easily made it a Joyride movie. But I don't know.
Yes. And what about have you seen the sequel?
That's called Don't Look Back, right, or something
Yeah.
like that. I didn't see
Oh.
it. I didn't even know it got a sequel till I heard about it later on, and I was like, "This movie got a sequel," and
I
I
can't
didn't
lie.
see it.
I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good. I don't know if we have. Wait, hold on. Has anyone else on this group seen it? You guys haven't seen it?
What's that? What haven't I seen?
Rest Stop 2?
I don't think I have seen Rest Stop 2. I saw the first Rest Stop and remember like not caring for it all that much.
Oh, okay. I won't talk about the second one then. But I gotta say, the ending to the second one was really fucked up. I won't spoil it. It's just, damn.
They got Oliver in there, right? From the first movie, the cop is Oliver from Oliver and Company. I didn't even know that. It's crazy.
That's the guy who dies at the end, right? Where he's all like,
yeah, that scene I thought was some great acting. Like, they chose like a 20-minute scene of that, and I was like, that's how you do acting, man. Like, that was really good.
I forgot how it ended. Was it her friend that comes in and she thinks she hears her one friend, right? The main character, and then she walks out.
It has some weird plot holes. Like, it doesn't explain certain things, and I will admit, like, it really doesn't really do the greatest story, but I think it has like nailed atmosphere and stuff like that. But to move on to the 90s again, we're gonna get back.
Yeah, we totally got off track.
That was like a 40-minute tangent.
This is like people are watching like, is this about 1990?
Yeah.
This always happens though. That's the fun of streams.
Yeah, it's streams. It's no holds barred. It's how it is. It's live. We're having fun, and it's one of the last ones we can do. So why not have a hell of a time and talk about whatever we want and just have fun, man.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Who are we on? Was it John's turn?
I just picked. I picked it, so it was actually your turn.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember now. Looking back on the list here, I actually totally forgot this movie came out in 1990, but I want to talk about it real quick because it's a movie that is like severely underrated. There's a lot of underrated movies in this 1990 list here. I mean, Exorcist 3. Night of Living. Well, Night of Living is a little bit underrated. Leatherface is, a little bit underrated too. I think Graveyard Shift is a little bit underrated as well. But I want to talk about two movies here that are underrated too. But I want to talk about a movie called Jacob's Ladder, which I had heard about from Matt, aka Rambo Afterlife. Great guy. If you guys haven't seen his content, go subscribe to him. He does some really great stuff. And I had never heard about this movie until Matt talked about it, and he was saying how it was a very haunting film and very suspenseful and creepy, and it inspired Silent Hill. So I was like, wow, I got to check this movie out. And I gotta say, man, it's just one of those movies from the 90s that really got missed. I mean, nobody talked about Jacob's Ladder anymore, and it's such a shame because I feel like it has so much going for it. And I think the reason it kind of got lost in obscurity is because it's one of those movies that while you're watching it, you kind of have to piece it together. I mean, you have to really figure out what's going on, really pay attention to the plot. And it's a very, in a way, complicated movie. But I think it's good for that. I think it has some really great acting in it. I mean, the cast and I actually really enjoy. And I think that, the suspense in the movie as well as, the I'm trying to get it pulled up here on IMDb, but it's not loading. I think the suspense is really well nailed. I think it's like Exorcist 3. It's one of those movies where atmosphere is very key and direction is very well done. Tim Robbins, I think, I agree with Matt in this case. I think he deserved an Oscar for this movie. I think Tim Robbins delivered one of his best performances in this movie. Like, and I've seen The Shawshank Redemption. I think this is, easily up there with that movie. And
Definitely.
I think even the deleted, that's how good it is. Even the deleted footage is interesting because like they come up with some cool ideas, like some Vietnam War experiments and some demon possession type stuff. I like that. I like how this movie is so ominous. You really just are watching this movie and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you're seeing these slight little things here and there, and it keeps it subtle, and it's not obvious. And this movie is another one of those movies that's getting a remake, and I don't know. I'm not excited for it because it has bad looking CGI and it rips off a lot of stuff from the original. It didn't really. I don't know. I think that it really just doesn't need a remake, to be honest. I think this movie should be seen by people who haven't seen it. It's a very unknown movie. If you could easily do a Blu-ray of this and introduce a new audience to this movie, you don't need a remake. But it could be good, it could be decent, it could be okay. We'll see how it goes. But personally, I'm not excited for it. But Elizabeth Pena is great. Danny Aiello is great. You also got a really early role from Macaulay Culkin in this movie, playing Tim Robbins' son. Excuse me. Of course, I always found it funny. I think the movie that Tim Robbins did before this was Howard the Duck, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's the one I knew he did. It's like always like, man, I'm just waiting for this guy in this movie to go wacka 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 wacka. But I don't know. It's Tim Robbins is even in that movie. He's great. That's how awesome Tim Robbins is. I'm such a big fan of the guy. I mean, it just made the character so sympathetic, and that's what's awesome about the movie. And yeah, what's your guys' thoughts on Jacob's Ladder?
You want to go first, Grim?
Actually, I have not seen it.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. I guess I'll go first. Nate, I completely agree with your fucking review of Jacob's Ladder because the word you use that I think is the best way to describe this movie is ominous. I caught this movie maybe 5 or 6 years ago, late night. This is like maybe halfway through high school, maybe 11th grade. I'm chilling late night, flipping through the channels. This movie comes on, Jacob's Ladder. Never heard of it, just like you. And I just remember the train scene where Tim Robbins getting off the train and he sees that the guy next to him has like a fucking tail. And I remember being like, it was one of those movies where the first few minutes, I'm like, all right, whatever. And then that happens, and I immediately like, bam, like in a snap, it had my undivided attention. I'm just like, what the hell was that? And then as this movie continues, man, the psychological dread that it makes you feel, and just some of the subliminal messages that the movie gives off. I don't even know if to this day if I've figured them all out. I've seen the movie about 4 or 5 times. There are still things in this movie that I don't know if I fully comprehended. I don't know if I've picked up on every little aspect and detail, nook and cranny. But man, is it a great time to watch this movie. Like, I think when it comes to atmosphere, when it comes to psychological thrillers or psychological, I'd consider it horror, but I know a lot of people consider it a thriller. I don't care either. Whatever one you use, I don't care because I call it a horror movie. I just think it's Tim Robbins' best performance, as you said. I think he's just fantastic in the fucking role. You really feel his torture, like the party scene where he envisions his girlfriend, who I believe is it Elizabeth Pena? Is that the actress? I believe.
Her name's like Jezebel in the movie.
Yeah, she's also in Rush Hour, which is she's good in that too. But he envisions her at a party getting fucking killed and torn apart and shit. And like it is a fucking like Grim was saying he was on an acid trip watching Freddy's Dead. Watch Jacob's Ladder on fucking acid. I've never done acid, but like I felt like I was on acid watching it sober. So I can only imagine if you threw drugs on top of this movie. It's a trippy movie as it is.
I do it a lot. Yeah, bro. I probably shouldn't say that, but dude. And also another good one. Another good one is definitely House of a Thousand Corpses. You guys got to see that on acid. That is probably the most.
I see. That's another movie I love. I've never done Acid, but that's another movie I always felt was kind of gives off that same kind of midnight movie driving grime kind of factor, and I love
Like a
movies like that.
grindhouse.
What's
Yeah,
that?
like a grindhouse almost.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But dude, I couldn't recommend, and to anybody listening, I couldn't recommend Jacob's Ladder enough. And honestly, like Nate is the nicer of the two of us when it comes to Nate and me. Don't fucking go support that remake. It looks like shit to me.
It does. It does. Ah, I'm
It
so glad
looks
I'm not
like
the only
fucking
one.
dog shit to
It
me.
doesn't
Like
even. Yeah.
Like the shit they change, it looks shot for shot, but the shit they change, it's the opposite of Night Living Dead 90. The shit they change is just like retarded. Like,
Yeah.
let's change instead of the guy having a tail on the train, right? We're gonna make him have fucked up feet. Like what? Like what? Why would you change? The tail was
Yeah.
fucking terrifying. I don't know who thought of that, but it scared the shit out of me. I remember watching it late night. Now he's gonna have messed up feet, bro. Really? Like that's your creative genius? That I don't. Man, that
Is
movie
that
looks like piss poor to me.
is it coming out to theaters or is it coming straight to
I
DVD?
think it's gonna go to theaters, and I hope it fucking bombs. Personally,
Yeah,
it
because I
really
hear it's
should.
supposed to go because it's by a low budget, like I don't know, like a wait, was it by? I know what the production company's
I
you're
pretty
wouldn't
right.
be
low.
It
surprised
definitely is
by
a low budget. What's that, Nate?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was by Blumhouse, but I don't know.
No,
Oh,
it's not. Definitely not. Blumhouse
you
would
can
never
tell when
touch
a Blumhouse.
Jacob's Ladder.
The weird thing about Blumhouse is you know it's a Blumhouse movie like whenever you're watching like
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
like Halloween felt exactly like a Blumhouse movie. And I don't know how the fuck it did. Halloween just never has any Blumhouse vibes. Like the franchise never had any Blumhouse vibes from the start. So
Yeah, I would agree with that. Even the Dimension Halloween films, like I won't lie, like after Halloween 5, you lose that classic Halloween feel that like I
yes,
think the first five
Yeah.
movies had. Then when you get into like the
Like
Curse
a
of Michael
Dimension
Myers, it
movie.
definitely feels Dimension. But like, yeah, I
yeah,
didn't like the
yes,
feel of the new Halloween either. Like I just thought it was just it didn't feel like it to me. But people praise the
That
atmosphere in that
Miramax
movie. I don't really
atmosphere
know
too.
why. I didn't feel it. I don't know. I like the director, but I don't think he was able to capture that feel quite like the first five. I don't think anyone's been able
yeah.
to do so since they switched to Dimension
Everyone's
Onward.
yeah. Did you like Curse of Michael Myers? There's not very much.
Honestly, I really enjoyed the fucking movie. I think it's the last
Yeah,
Halloween movie. I since that movie, I don't think there's been a Halloween movie as good.
honestly, like that. I think that's the only one that scared me. Like the soundtrack and the score was kind of terrifying to be honest. You know, and just the way Michael looked. I know he wasn't the best, but like just I think it was the pitch black eyes that got to me because
The part
H2O
five.
lacked that. H2O lacked that shit. You could
Yeah,
see his eyes. I hated that, man.
H2O feels like a fucking Scream film. Like that's why I don't like
Yeah.
H2O. Like
I'm not a fan of H2O.
Nate makes
Mhm.
a great point. He says if it wasn't for the last act of that movie, like H2O really wouldn't be that good. And like I kind of agree. But
Yeah.
I always look at the Halloween films now more than ever as like a saga. Like I like the first six, and then like
Yes.
that's it. Like I really don't like after like H2O never was a big fan. Resurrection never was a big fan. The Rob Zombie movies never was a big fan, and then the new movie was not a big fan. So I kind
Yeah.
of I'm cool with the first six, and I'm good. Like I don't need any more.
How cool would it be if the next sequel would be like because you know Halloween 4, you know, you got Daniel Harris and God, I loved Halloween 4 and I really want them to do like instead of just continuing Halloween, like they should not like another remake, but like they should like switch dimensions kind of in a way, you know? Like okay, so we did Laurie's side, now we're gonna do Jamie's side. Like they could do something totally like that.
They
I
have
just don't
plans for the
understand.
next movie to do that. Sorry, John.
No, go ahead, Nate. You're good.
No, I was just saying that in the next movie they're gonna supposedly, so it's a leaked thing, I guess, but it's still a rumor that they're gonna try and tie in Halloween 4 with this movie. But I'm like, how? Halloween 4 is a sequel to Halloween 2. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
I don't
Yes.
understand.
I'm not a fan. I'll never be. I know this is like a lot of the diehard Halloween fans are not going to agree, but like I don't like that they went the route of not making them brother and sister anymore. Like I always liked that a
Me
lot.
too.
Yeah, that's what
Like
made
those
Halloween so realistic almost, you know? Like
exactly.
in the new one, she just like
So
she
interesting.
came to Michael, you know? Michael didn't come to her, and that's what didn't feel very threatening about Michael at all. Like, you know?
Exactly. And like I'm one of those people like, all right, if you want to change the brother and sister angle, go ahead, you can change it. However, if you're gonna fucking do that, I don't want to see Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't want to see her. I don't want to see Danielle. I want to see fresh meat. I want to see a new final girl. I want to see the Shape stalking random people. If that is what's scarier, that's what the defense is always. Oh, if they're not related, it's scarier. Okay, if it's so much fucking scarier, then why the fuck is she still going after the same bitch? I don't
exactly.
agree.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about it. When I was watching Halloween, it felt so fucking messy. Like everything felt messy again. And it's like, damn, I mean, there's not much story here to tell, honestly. But like, and it still felt messy. I don't know what was up with that. Maybe because it was just so crammed, but it's messy, man. Like they don't have.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I've been talking way too much.
No, you haven't, dude. No, please. You've been a pleasure to have on the stream.
I'm just saying that, like, the title, man, that's like, I have to agree about the title, too. That's one shitty title. Halloween Kills, and the fucking Halloween title as well. I mean, for
Halloween Kills is the shittiest fucking title.
Yeah.
In this,
you know how the
franchise.
Scream movies have the Stab series? You know how the Scream movies have the Stab movie? That's pretty much what reminded me of. Like, this sounds like a Stab movie instead of a Scream.
Even Stab is a better fucking title, though. Like,
yeah.
I know,
the
right?
Holiday Kills? Really? Like, I'm sorry. That's just not a good title at all. They have to change that title. That's awful.
Now. They already spoiled the thing in the next movie. We already know Michael Myers is going to live. We already know Michael Myers, but he got half his arm blown off. I'm like, what are they going to do? He's set on fire. His arm's blown off. Like, what the hell did they do?
Yeah, and I think announcing both of those movies on the same day was just the biggest fucking, like, cash attempt grab. Like let's milk this to death. It's just pathetic, man. Like,
yeah, you're right. And the whole fucking, I mean, I actually am kind of looking forward to seeing what Michael Myers looks like now. Like, I can imagine that they're going to try to at least pull a Rob Zombie here, which is also another reason why I hated the new one, was because it felt like they say they're trying to be exactly like the original. And it's like, okay, you don't have the vibes of the original that much. I mean, maybe you do, but that's for that split second. And then you get each vibe from each movie. And then you got the Rob Zombie vibes with fucking shaky camera and him throwing people around. It's like, what happened to the original vibes here? Like, where we?
I seen him curb stop that guy. I'm like, really? Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. You're gonna take a scene from that movie? Like, out of all movies, you have to pick Halloween 2. Like,
which scene?
Wow. There's a scene in Halloween 2 where it's the same exact shot. Michael Myers knocks a guy to the ground. It pans with Michael Myers, pans down to the guy's face. Michael Myers, it shows a shot of him, his boot coming down, smashing the guy's face. And the only difference is that in the movie, he does it one time and bust the guy's head open. I'm like, it was a cool death scene line. Everybody applauded, but I was like, really? You're going to take that from...
It was kind of a he kind of pulled a Victor Crowley. Victor Crowley did it better.
I was gonna say that they make him like Victor. He's like ripping jaws off and ripping people's faces apart. I'm like, this Michael Myers doing this?
Yeah, he never did that in the original. I mean, maybe he picked someone up.
I'm like, no. They wanted to be a human. He got shot 6 times, got his hand blown off, got shot like 12 times in this movie. How the hell is he a human? I don't understand this. He's 60 years old, picking people up and choke slamming them through tables and shit. I'm like, what is this, man? How do you not pull out a disc in his back? He's old. I'm sorry, but if they make him a human, it's not scary to me.
He's 60 years old, choke slamming people.
I know, that's the fucking part I was laughing at too. Like, just the whole bathroom scene, that's when I lost it and wanted to walk out. It just that's when I noticed they were borrowing scenes after scene from each movie.
Yeah.
That fucking bathroom scene in the Halloween remake, they did that better.
And like they did that from H2O. There's like shots from Halloween 2, and there's like Halloween 3 references. I'm like, man, I'm trying to keep up with all these references here, man. They got every movie marked down so far. I'm waiting for that Thorn tattoo to pop up somewhere. Then tie that movie in there.
Fan service is awesome and all, but they overkill it. And I'm sorry, but these fans that are going like, well, but you have to rewatch the first one and you have to rewatch this one in order to know the signs and find this and that and notice this. And it's like, shut the fuck up. I noticed everything. You're just being a fucking bitch because you're so desperate for a new Halloween movie. I'm sorry for cussing so much, but that's the truth.
Oh, shit.
You've gotten so much like shitty sequels nowadays, It's like you're just desperate for at least an okay movie, and you got an okay movie. Now you're gonna hype it up, and it's like, Jesus, man, I'm just gonna piss in your cup real quick. I'll be right back.
Dude, man, Grim holds no fucking bars, bro. That was wow. My buddy Ryan's like a huge fan of the one. He's gonna be like, "This motherfucker!" Like I can always just picture his face watching this right now, man. But yeah, I feel I know where you're coming from, man.
Yeah.
I
I'm
know
not gonna shit
exactly.
on anyone for liking the movie though. It's just it's just
No, I know exactly what you mean. No worries. I know we're
Yeah.
not shitting. I don't shit on anybody either. It's just I know where you're coming from for sure.
Anyways, I'll stop talking now.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though. Sorry, John.
No, go. I was gonna say whose pick was next, but if you want to keep going, keep going.
Oh no, I was actually getting ready to do the same thing. No lie.
Wonderful.
Grim. What else do you want to pick from the year 1990? What's your next?
People Under
pick?
the Stairs.
Oh, that's a classic.
Hell yeah! That part where they, I love the part where they shock each other. They get electrocuted by the doorknob.
Yeah, that's a classic. I think it was 91, but I don't know. I'm down to talk about it. That's
Screw
one
the
of my
movie.
favorite fucking Craven films because I love the themes of the rich versus the poor in it.
Yes.
I love some of the shit that Ving Rhames says in it. He says something like, man, this is a shitty age to be 13. You're too old to get tit and too young to get ass. I love that fucking line. And something that he's like, man, maybe they'll let me in there. And he goes, yeah, maybe the president is going to make me secretary of pussy.
Such a good movie.
Like that movie, that's such a well-written movie. And like, I don't know, I love that movie, man. Like,
It's great.
the effects of like the practical effects of the kids under the stairs I always thought was good. I always thought the actress that played the mommy role, she was terrifying in that fucking movie. Wendy Roby, I believe her name is. I nominated her. I did an award show on my podcast, and she was up for like best supporting actress on one of my shows.
Oh, wow.
Really, really like her performance in this. I always like the scene towards the end where their daughter kind of walks in the kitchen, and they have Craven does this great like side angle shot, and she says, "I see you." And then the mom goes, "And I see you, dearie," and then pulls out a knife like Psycho style and just screams, just starts running to her. That's one of my favorite like Wes Craven scenes. Like it's so awesome. It gets me in the mood of the genre. Like I just love that. Like nothing even really happens. Like she doesn't stab her or kill her or anything. It's just like that epic, that lead up to the chase. It's so perfectly done, man. I think that's a Craven classic, personally.
Hell yeah. I love the black rubber suit too. The leather suit you get. That one guy wears.
Oh yeah, and Tarantino ripped that off in Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Which is crazy. You wouldn't think Pulp Fiction would rip off a film like People Under the Stairs, but yeah, that's an homage for sure.
Hell yeah.
Got him.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Oh, Steve might join us.
Oh,
but people under the sorry, Grim.
No, go on.
I was just gonna give my quick thoughts on it. I actually got done watching the Scream Factory edition the other week, man, and I hadn't seen the movie in like a decade. So really revisiting it was kind of like revisiting a brand new movie. Like I noticed so many new things. The Blu-ray was actually pretty good. They got interviews, they got commentaries. I think they did it. I think that was the last one to have Wes Craven, or was it the one before? I can't remember. Like in one of those Scream Factory ones was his last commentary, but I don't know if they got a commentary with Wes Craven on People Under the Stairs. I gotta see. Oh yeah, they do got a commentary. That might have been his last commentary. But
really, that's sad.
I think that was his last commentary. He was supposed to do some Serpent in the Rainbow too, but unfortunately, he had already passed away at that point. So rest in peace to Wes Craven, man.
How were the features on that Nate?
So the People Under the Stairs. You've got you got two commentaries. You got one with the cast: Brandon Adams, AJ Langer, Sean Whalen, and Yang Birch. And then you got a commentary with Wes Craven. Then you got interviews with the cast and crew. You got behind the scenes. You got blooper reels. You got an interview with the composer, an interview with the photography, interview with effects artists, Nicotero and KMB, trailers and TV spots and all kinds of fantastic stuff. But
fucking A.
Don't get the Rainbow Blu-ray. I kind of regret getting it because it has like a commentary with Bill Pullman but it cuts off after like 40 minutes of the movie. So like he had to leave and go film Independence Day 2. He's like, yeah, I gotta go film this movie. I'll see you guys later. Like 40 minutes in the movie, the rest of it is
Are
like
you
dead
fucking
air.
kidding?
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? I got ripped off. Not even a full commentary.
He's gotta go fucking film another shitty fucking movie.
Yeah, and there was a moderator too, and the guy's like, yeah, that's our commentator, guys. I'm like, why didn't you just stay there and commentate? You could have stayed here and commentated.
Bro, what? How did I not hear about this? That's insane.
Yeah, and get this, the commentary, they put bits of the live interview, and like they have a so-called interview feature on this Blu-ray, but that interview is from the commentary. So they didn't even really get an interview with Bill Pullman. It's from the commentary.
Wow,
And
thank you for saving my money.
yeah, I spent like $25 on this. I'm like, wow, man, I just paid $25
Jesus
for this.
Christ. I'm sorry. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Man. It's sad that Exorcist 2, the Heretic, has more features than Super in the Rainbow.
Ain't that a shame?
Isn't
But
it
yeah,
crazy
I
though?
think
Like
it's more
how
great.
a lot of bad movies nowadays have like the best cover arts, and a lot of good movies have like these really bland logos and really just boring just covers. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something about it. If you guys know
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
talking
crazy,
about.
man. There are special editions of some really shitty fucking movies, but like, I mean, is what it is, I guess. There's an audience for any movie. It really is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
John, what's your second or your third pick for this 1990 discussion?
Oh, cool. I'm looking at the list now. I do have one I want to talk about. I don't know if either of you have seen it. If not, I could pick another one again, and we could just gloss over this one. Let me just look. Okay, I have a couple actually that we probably can just gloss over. We don't have to spend too much time on it. This is probably my favorite of the year 1990, and I don't know if either of you have ever seen it, but it is Clive Barker's Nightbreed. I don't know
Oh,
how
I
well
need to check that one out.
Dude,
I hear it's really
this is a movie I only saw recently, maybe about a year ago, and like to say I was fucking blown away is an understatement. I think this is the best horror movie of the year 1990. It basically stars I always forget the guy's fucking name. Let me see. Craig Schaefer, and he's like your lead guy or whatever, and David Cronenberg plays his like psychologist in it. And like very early on, and this is not really a spoiler, this happens like 10 minutes into the movie, you find out that David Cronenberg's kind of your villain of the movie. And it's just an imaginative fucking work of art. I love this movie. This is probably my favorite Clive Barker movie. And that's saying something because I love Hellraiser. And Lord of Illusions is a solid movie too. But this is a masterpiece. I love this film. It basically Craig Schaefer's character dies, and he's brought back in this graveyard, and it's like this little town called Midian, and his girlfriend's looking for him, and it's just all this wacky, crazy stuff. You have monsters, you have slashing, you have some great creep out scenes. I mean, this is just a grand movie. It has a great story, great practical effects, great acting, a really cool setting, and this is the Scream Factory edition, and they added like 45 minutes of additional footage that had never been seen before, because this is a movie that had tremendous theatrical problems with the cut and the studios and all this stuff. They pretty much released a movie that Clive Barker was not proud of and wanted his name off it. But this is really the director's cut and Clive Barker's true baby. And man, I got to say, I think this is my favorite work from him. I really, really love Nightbreed. I don't know if Nate's seen it, but I just had to mention this one.
It's on Shudder, right?
I've seen
it might be.
Yeah,
I've seen it on Netflix, and if it's on Netflix, I'll check it out. But I've always heard that it was a great movie.
That's great.
Yeah,
I recommend it for both of you. I think, especially if you guys are Barker fans, if you guys like Hellraiser, definitely give it a chance. And I think, like, and this is crazy, David Cronenberg almost steals the fucking movie, and he's not even an actor. Like, he's so damn good at it as the villain, man.
I think, like, I've always heard that the director's cut is the preferred version to watch.
Definitely, yeah. There's also a Cabal cut, which is like the movie uncut completely, like every piece of footage they shot. But this is Barker's version. Barker was like, this is the real movie that should have came out, and I think it's just a masterpiece. But since y'all
Danny Barahanas or whatever his name is,
what's that?
What's his name? Danny Barahanas or something like that, as the
Who
lead.
Which character?
I think he's the lead of the movie. He's on all the posters.
No, Craig
You know,
Sheffer. He's the lead.
he looks like that guy. Have you guys ever seen Angel? I
No,
swear, he's like that guy from Angel.
Oh,
Danny
yep.
for Bones. You guys ever seen Bones?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen Bones.
Danny or whatever his name is. He looks just like him. No lie.
Yeah. It seems like a good movie to be like. I don't know. Is it a trippy movie? It looks trippy. It looks like something you could watch on. I don't know, anything like shrooms, acid. Sorry for mentioning that, but I swear, it just. I'm telling you, I might do that tonight. I might have to because it's on Shudder. It's on Shudder.
Dude, I recommend it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you about shrooms or acid because I've never done. So I don't want to be like steer you down the wrong fucking road. I actually Jacob's Ladder, man. Watch that because like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But like this is a fucking great movie too. If you can watch this on Shudder or on Amazon Prime, whatever, this is a fucking classic movie. I love this movie. But to get into one that you guys have almost definitely seen, I'd be surprised if either one of you haven't seen this. This is probably the biggest franchise movie that came out this year, and it did really well in the box office. It is Sorry Jack, Chucky's Back, Child's Play 2. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah.
Hell yes!
Dude,
love Child's Play 2.
Me too.
Yeah.
Best. Oh, go on.
I think I have it right here. Hold on, I'm looking for it.
Dude, Child's Play 2 is like
Got it.
classic.
Oh, dude, it's by far one of the best horror movies ever, too. At least one of the best horror sequels, okay?
One of the best horror I love this fucking movie. It might be my favorite. Like, it's either one or two, and I just love this movie. I think the first three are all classics, and I actually really thought the remake was pretty decent. But, yeah. I love this movie, man. What? Give me your all's thoughts, like your in-depth thoughts.
I'll let you go first, Nate.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. Child's Play 2, man. That was like really the first one I seen, I think, as a kid. I used to really wonder more about Andy Barclay. So when you see this movie and you don't see the first movie, you kind of wonder like, oh, what happened? Like, what did this guy go through? But I always found like, because I was like pretty young when I seen this. I don't remember what age I was. I was pretty young. And this is really a movie where Chucky kind of scared me. Like, you know, he definitely kind of terrified me in this movie because he's serious. He's not joking around. There's no masturbation jokes. There's no embarrassing stuff like that.
Tell Brian.
You know,
It all goes to hell when you talk about masturbating.
All right. He's going to be joining us pretty soon. I'm going to send him an invite real quick. We're going to have Steve. Oh, my God. This is going to be awesome, man. Like the old school days, man. But, yeah, like Child's Play 2, it took everything seriously. Chucky is – people who talk about Chucky and say, oh, well, he's not scary. I'm like, dude, watch the first movie. Watch the second movie. Watch the third movie. Look at Chucky in the third movie looks demonic. Like, I'm just in the third movie, his look alone. Now, is a third movie a masterpiece? I don't really think it's a masterpiece, but I think it's a pretty damn underrated movie with some great stuff in it. But I think Child's Play 2, man, it's just got such a great also atmosphere to it. The director I'm a huge fan of.
John
did a great job shooting the movie. Yeah, he did a great job with this movie. Brad Dourif stole the show, man, and so did honestly, he didn't steal the show. Everybody did their jobs well. I mean, Andy, of course, coming back to play him what was his name? Alex Vincent, I think was his name. Was his name Alex Vincent?
Yeah.
Andy.
Mm-hmm.
He came back in this movie. A little bit more monotone, but I can deal with that because, you know, he went through some stuff. But I will say his acting probably – I think in the first movie he was just a normal kid. In this movie he kind of plays a troubled kid, but that time his dialogue was a little monotone. But I can understand why. It's not a bad thing. And I really enjoy the character what's her name?
Kyle.
Kyle, yeah. I really enjoy her character. I think the actress did a great job playing her. I mean, I like her dynamic. I like the foster parents. I like the story. I just love the ending too. Such a creative ending. Like
great final act.
Ending, yeah, man. Like so much going on, and I love the look of it. The maze of good guy dolls, and I'm just like, what happened to this series? Because we got Bride Chucky, which I have fun with. I'm not a fan of it, but I have fun with the movie.
Yeah.
Brew fucking doll. But Seed of Chucky, I'm not a fan of. Curse Chucky, I think is okay. It's a pretty decent little movie. Not really anything too spectacular, but it's okay. I hate Cult of Chucky. I think that's an awful movie. And I remember when that Child's Play remake first came out, people were saying, "Oh, Cult of Chucky is better." I'm like, I know for a fact that this remake is going to be better than Cult of Chucky. I just know it is. That movie freaking sucked.
Yeah,
But,
it kind of did.
yeah, I know, right? You seen it too. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But like, it just I going back to these two, these three movies. I just really love all three of them, and I think this is when Chucky was taken seriously and legit scary to me, at least. To me, at least, he was. Maybe I'm a wussy, but he kind of creeped me out as a kid.
I agree 1,000% with you. So if you're a wussy, I'm a wussy too. So no worries.
The Wussies Club. Cheers. I'm joking.
Wussy Squad. Yeah, too sweet.
Wolfpack for life. We're taking over. That's my pick now, right?
Yeah.
All right, I was just making sure. I kind of forgot for a second. I gotta go with this movie because I did not know a single thing about this movie until I had finally seen it. Like I think 2 years ago now, and I really love the movie. I think it's a great anthology film, and that's Tales from the Dark Side, which is I think based on a TV show. And I don't know, did the TV show come out before or after this movie?
Before it was like I think it was 86 to 90 the TV show ran.
Yeah, and then this was kind of made as an addition. Hey, what's up, Steve?
Brother
What's
Steve?
up, man?
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Great. Or
Shit.
as usual.
This is actually my first time meeting you, bro. Shit. Oh, I've seen this guy before. Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm about to say,
How
Grim
you
Reaper,
doing, man?
how you
How's
not
it
know
going?
R&R Horror Hunter? We getting old school up in here.
Damn.
Yeah, he's got a brand new channel, man. Just check it out. Resurrection Reviews. I'll link it in the description below, by the way, to anybody who wants to check any of these guys' channels out. Get Dahmer, Resurrection Reviews, Ground His Graveyard, Grim Reaper, all great guys. I will link their channels in the description below. Welcome
thank
to
you very much.
No problem, my man. Well, we were just talking about.
I can probably only be here for about a half hour, but let's see what's up.
We were talking about some movies from the year 1990. We'd already went over a few of them. You can kind of give your thoughts on that if you want to in a second, but I just brought up Tales from the Dark Side of the movie, and I gotta really say that this movie I remember seeing on Netflix, and the poster just caught my eye. I was like, "Wow, what's this about?" And I didn't even know there was, the TV show until afterwards because I was like really got into it. I'm like, this is like old. This is Creep Show 3. I don't know if people realize that, but if you want to see the actual Creep Show 3, watch this movie because it's not Creep Show 3. The actual Creep Show 3. The real Creep Show 3 is this movie because it has such creative stories. I love the practical effects. I pretty much like all stories. And the acting was pretty decent. It's a pretty fun little movie. Got pretty creepy ideas. I think my favorite one is probably the last story because it was just disturbing to me. And it really freaked me out. And I thought it was pretty, I don't know, just to me, it kind of freaked me out and gave me the heebie-jeebies. But I just think it's a fun horror film with some great stories. And if you're a fan of anthology movies, it's easily one of the best ones I've seen. And I think out of this year, it's probably, I think that's really the only anthology movie from this year, if I'm not mistaken. But it really is.
Actually, there's another one. Two Evil Eyes came out in 1990.
Oh, yeah, I just seen it right here. Yeah, I didn't see that one yet, though, but I did hear that was good, too.
I definitely like Tales from the Dark Side a little bit better. And that's saying a lot because that's Romero and Argento together.
Oh, crap, really?
Yeah, it's Romero and Argento together doing Edgar Allan Poe stories. I'll be honest, the Argento chapter is a little bit of a mess. It's like Harvey Keitel and the Black Cat, and I don't know. I think that story has been adapted a little bit better. I really liked Stuart Gordon's adaptation of it in the Masters of Horror season 2 episode. I thought that was a great adaptation with Jeffrey Combs as the lead. But yeah, man, I love Tales from the Dark Side of the movie, though. Getting back to that, I always really loved the wraparound with Deborah Harry and she's trying to eat this kid. And like that's the wraparound. He's trying to tell her stories to distract her from eating him. Like I love that's so like hilariously dark. That's just epic, man. I love it.
Yeah, definitely one of the most iconic wraparounds. Better than VHS's wraparound.
Well, what is it?
The VHS wraparound.
The VHS viral wraparound.
No, I didn't even see that one. I got like 5 minutes into that movie. I'm like, I'm out of here, man.
Good. What are y'all's thoughts on Tales from the Dark Side of the movie, though?
I'm a fan. I like that movie quite a bit. The last section that Nate was specifically talking about is based on a Japanese folk tale that's been adapted several times. I think it was in a previous movie.
You're breaking up.
Favorite's probably The Cat from Hell because it's so weird.
Yeah.
Really, really weird segment. But I like.
Dang it, Google.
Yeah,
you couldn't work this last couple of times. You couldn't do it. There you go.
What's that?
You broke up. You broke up.
Okay. So where did you last hear me?
About the last the last segment, not the wrap up,
yeah.
the last segment.
Yeah. The last segment is a Japanese ghost story. My favorite one's probably The Cat from Hell. I think that one's hilarious and over the top. But I like the Mummy story too. That's an Arthur Conan Doyle story. Really good stuff all around. I usually watch that one around Halloween anyway.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Grim Reaper?
No, I actually haven't.
I recommend it, man. If you're like Creepshow, you're gonna like this movie. It's really similar, but it's the better Creepshow 3. Do not see Creepshow 3. Never ever see Creepshow 3 ever.
Oh God, wait. Which one was that? The one with where they're on the dock in the middle of the lake?
No, that's 2.
No, that's 2. That's a good one. No.
Okay.
You know if you've seen 3.
I believe the Cat from Hell story was originally going to be in Creepshow 2, but they only had the budget to make 3 segments as opposed to 4 or 5, and that's why it got cut. And then that's why it's in this movie, and that's why Romero says that this is the unofficial Creepshow 3.
Mm-hmm.
Am I kind of guilty for saying that I like Creepshow 2 a little bit more? I'm kind of guilty for saying that.
I'd be honest, I've watched Creepshow 2 more. It's definitely the one I go back to more. I think the Rat's my favorite segment in either movie, so I don't think it's crazy.
To me, the whole series kind of works together as one big fit. By the series, I mean the first 2 Creep shows and then this. It really works because they virtually have the same atmosphere. They're shot differently. They've got a couple differences in them and stuff like that. But honestly, I think it just works really, really well. Can't say enough good things about it, honestly.
I agree.
Yeah, and if you want to talk to, if you want to get yours in there, Steve, real quick, a movie from 1990 that you really enjoyed. We've covered Chainsaw Massacre 3, I think John mentioned Graveyard Shift. You could probably shed a little bit more light on that movie because you've seen that. I haven't seen that, and Grim Reaper hasn't either. It's up to you, really.
Well, I can talk a little bit about Graveyard Shift. I'm not a big fan of the movie. It seems to drag a lot for me. But I do love Brad Dourif's performance there. He's fantastic. There's he's so good that like he's better than the movie deserves in some aspects. And the short story is all.
Uh-oh.
God damn it!
It's always when he gets into the stories too.
Right? Yeah, cut off the worst time.
Am I cut out again?
Yeah. You went the true story, and then it cut, and I was like, ah.
Honestly,
Google just doesn't like stories.
Apparently, so.
I guess not.
They're like, no, you can't say that.
Google doesn't want you to read.
True.
I don't know. I like Graveyard Shift all right though. It's a fun movie. A little draggy for me, and I don't watch it very often. But you know, it's one I sometimes will throw on, specifically kind of in the background.
I've never seen it.
Do you have any ones from 1990 that you wanted to discuss? We may have discussed it already, but I mean, we still got like a pretty decent sized list of stuff we haven't discussed. I don't know if there's a specific one that stands out to you most that you wanted to cover. Even if we've discussed it, we'll give you the floor for sure.
Well, of course, I like Child's Play 2. I
Yep.
heard you guys talking about that one. Love that movie. It's equally as good as the original, at the very least. I like. Let's see. I can't remember if there was a Nightmare on Elm Street sequel that year. I don't believe so.
There wasn't, but we did discuss Freddy's Dead, which is from '91. So if you wanted to give your thoughts on that, you could too.
The best thing about it is Alice Cooper as Freddy's dad. Uh, that's a
No.
Are you serious? No. There's no way, bro.
Oh, he's back again.
yeah. I like Freddy's Dead as a guilty pleasure.
Honestly, I do too. No lie.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a hangover from the 1980s. So, I mean,
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Technical
Chainsaw
difficulties.
Yeah, guys, this is
3. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're back. You're back.
Okay. All right. So I heard you guys talking about Chainsaw 3. I like Chainsaw 3 quite a bit as well. Really good special effects. I really like R.A. Mihailoff. I think he's probably next to Gunnar Hansen. He might be my favorite Leatherface, even though I'm the biggest fan of Part 2 as far as the sequels.
Yeah, Bill Johnston.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's fantastic. But I do like R.A. Mihailoff a lot. I hear he's a great guy to meet. I've heard tell of some people here in Kentucky who invite him down for barbecue, and they enjoy barbecue together. So,
Oh, that's kick-ass.
yeah, he's a big biker guy. He's a huge person too. I've not met him, but I've been. He's always right next to Kane Hodder at convention.
Ah!
I like to pal around together.
You're good.
Oh shit! Hey guys, I'll try to join the call in a second. There's some stuff going on.
All right.
All right.
See you in a minute.
I think they were both in Hatchet 2, right? Uh-oh, Steve froze.
What do you mean, R.A. Mihailoff and Kane Hodder? Yeah.
Yeah, they have a fight scene in Hatchet 2. It's a little Leatherface versus Jason type of fight. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. As far as anything else from 1990, I'm kind of hard pressed to think about stuff from 90. It's kind of an obscure year to me, and I don't say anything negative about the year, but I just kind of can't think of anything. I'll bring one up. Slumber Party Massacre 3.
Yes. I was hoping you'd touch on that movie. It's been in the back of your list. I'm like, somebody's got to bring up that movie.
All right, so I'll talk about it then. So, in this movie, the hero's worst enemy is a table in front of a Venetian door. They can't get past a table. They also can't get past this wild killer that, for some reason, like goes back and forth between maniacal laughing and crying about the fact that he was molested as a child. They drink a specific beverage in this movie, and it is beer. And the beer is labeled as the brand beer. So he got that going on. Beer brand beer. And one of the weirdest nude scenes
Dang, you got the good part too. Talk about the weird news scene.
I am somewhat of a fan. There are parts I have to skip, and there are parts that I cannot help but watch. But it's it's somewhat twisted genius, kind of how it went together. It's a great Roger Corman style movie. I can't say enough good things about the fact that it's wild. It's absolutely wild. I own it on the Slumber Party Massacre trilogy DVD. All three of those movies are probably worth your time. So yeah, Slumber Party Massacre 3. There's one. I contributed something.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, I like part 2 because it's like hilarious, like unintentionally hilarious. And then part 3, yeah, I have fun with part 3 as well. Is it? I believe it's the same director, right? Isn't it Sally? I forget her last name, but I believe it's the same director as part 2.
3 directors have been women. Although I believe a man helped to direct part 2. Part 2 is maybe the most testosterone fueled one.
Yeah.
But the third one, I mean, again directed by a different woman, but still produced by Roger Corman, and still somehow it's supposed to be feminist. I don't see it, but it's an interesting movie. It's it's crazy.
Definitely, no doubt. I enjoy that one. I see one on the list though. Believe it or not, it's actually another Stephen King adaptation, and it seems like this year we had 3 Stephen King adaptations: It, Graveyard Shift, and I'd actually say this is probably my favorite of the 3. It is Rob Reiner, and it is Misery from 1990.
Oh, how could I forget it? Yeah, Misery's fantastic.
We can talk about it right now, brother. Give me your thoughts.
Oh man. I've not seen this movie many times, but the book is absolutely one of Stephen King's masterpieces. Definitely in the top 5 of his best written novels. As far as the movie, I mean, Kathy.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Oh, he just paused. I thought he paused, but I cut him off. I'm like, I didn't mean to cut
As a director.
There he is.
What's up?
I thought you paused because I kind of cut you off. I thought you paused. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. You're good. Google just must be hating on me tonight. It's probably because I'm black. But no. But no. I love Misery. You guys go ahead and talk about it, please. Go ahead.
Nate, go ahead, buddy.
You guys are gonna hate me, but I actually had the movie lined up one night, but never got around to seeing it. But I did read the novel. Yeah, I actually really want to see it. I can speak from the novel's point of view. That novel was amazing. Like I would say, I read like Christine Carey and The Shining, and the last one I read was Misery. And I gotta say, man, like those are all great novels, but I agree with Steve, man. Like Misery is just such an intense novel. And I'm a huge fan of the Carey novel. I think it's a great novel, but I think that Misery is just, it adds layers upon layers of kind of, you could see Stephen King kind of writing himself into his books sometimes. And you can definitely tell in this movie because it deals with a writer and the pressures of being a writer and the pressures of life of being a writer. And Stephen King knows how to get those thoughts in the book. And I really like that. And I just think that the book was just fantastic. I really want to see the movie.
Nice. I've not had the fortune to read the novel, but I would love to someday. But man, when you talk about the movie Misery, you're obviously, it's a great movie, and I think Rob Reiner's a great director. I mean, he's done Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally, Misery. I mean, he's made classic movies in different genres, so I think he's a fantastic filmmaker. But this probably is my favorite movie. I just love James Caan in this. I think he plays a great lead, and of course, I think it's probably one of the top 10 best horror movie performances of all time from Kathy Bates. I just love that character, Annie Wilkes, and how I always thought the brilliance of the character was she was moral. Like, she didn't curse much. She didn't like the potty mouth. She didn't like in some of the changes in his novel. She's like, she can't be cheated on. She can't be left like this. Like, she really viewed the world in, I think a lot of would say, a naive way or an oblivious way. But I really, and really liked that she was almost looked at the world in an innocent way. And like, just her delivery of lines, like the best scene in this movie is when she discusses when she was a kid and how she used to like to go to the movies. And she says, my favorite was Rocket Man. And every week I'd line up, I'd be the first in line. They'd take my money. I'd go to my seat, get my popcorn, my pop, everything. And I remember that they put Rocket Man on the cliffhanger. And then the next week he escaped and everyone cheered. And I got up and I said, they cheated us. This isn't fair. And she just goes on and nails every single line. I just love Kathy Bates in this film because it's the true obsessed fan. And I think it's been overdone. I don't know if you've ever seen The Fan with Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes. That's a movie where I feel like it's kind of overdone, you know, like, and no disrespect to Mr. De Niro. Of course, he's going to be Robert De Niro no matter what I say about him. And Taxi Driver will always be one of my favorite films. But when it gets to nailing this obsessed, crazy fan, I don't think anyone's ever done it better than Kathy Bates. And dare I say, I don't think anyone will ever do it as good again. And I think the movie around them is great too. Like, it's, you know, don't get me wrong, the movie is very strong. Love the final act. Love some of the scenes, the tension scenes where he goes throughout the house and is trying to make sure he puts everything back in the correct spot. And she picks out that the one of the penguins is pointing in the wrong direction. I mean, that's just something a real psycho would remember. So I just love this movie. I think it plays great attention to detail. I think it's entertaining. I think it has a great atmosphere. And I think it's got just everything that a horror movie should have. I think it's definitely my top 5 for this year. I would say it's a solid like 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of salty I've never seen the movie because it's gotten like unlimited praise. So I'm definitely curious. But I know the novel is pretty intense, and I wonder if they covered the same things because what you're saying is pretty similar to the novel. The tension of trying to make sure that he doesn't get caught, and when he does get caught, it's kind of in the book. It's just like insanely intense and insanely just brutal. But yeah, I can't wait to see the movie, man.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, and it's also your pick.
I would say that I'm talking about just looking at this list real quick. There's a lot of movies to choose from. Ooh, I've never seen Basket Case before, or Basket Case 2. I'm just kind of stuck between these two movies. All right, I'm gonna go with another underrated one because I'm pretty sure this one probably either was gonna get discussed or maybe wasn't. But this movie kind of needs to get defended a little bit because it gets too much hate. And I actually recently did a review on its Predator 2. And
Oh, wow,
I
okay.
never understood why Predator 2. Yeah, it's kind of like a horror action kind of thing, but it's not really like a straight up horror movie. But I still kind of consider Predator kind of a horror film, even though it's an action mainly. But, you know, I don't know. You would think it wouldn't be anything in horror, but it's always been labeled as horror action. But Predator 2, I never understood why it got so much hate because I think the first movie with Arnold is a fantastic movie and it's a fun movie. But everybody says how Danny Glover in the second movie is awful and how the characters are bad and how the effects are worse and then they don't like the city atmosphere. I'm like, dude, what else was they going to do with the sequel? They made it bigger. They made it better. They took it to the city. The human jungle, you know, the jungle was in the first movie. How do you upgrade? We go to the city, which is a jungle in itself. You know, you're dealing with mafia leaders and gangsters and you know, it does have some pretty decent horror moments. You know, that train sequence is crazy. And, you know, is it Bill Paxton? That's the guy's name? Bill
Yeah.
Paxton?
Yes, he's
Bill
fantastic.
Paxton's great. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's also been killed by Alien and a Predator, so he's been in both series. So it's always been fun seeing him in these movies. And both part 2s, by the way, both part 2s. But he's great in this movie. Danny Glover is a badass. I'm sorry. I don't understand people saying, well, he's too old or he's not like Arnold. I'm like, so what? You want another Arnold? You want Arnold to come back or you wanted a copycat? It's like, no, Danny Glover took the role and did his own thing. I thought he had great dialogue. personally think Danny Glover's a badass in all his movies. Let's leave The Weapon, this, any movie he's probably been in. Even Saw. He was a badass in Saw, and I think that the Predator in the movie, I think the guy that played the Predator in this movie, that is probably one of his last roles. I think he did a fantastic job playing the Predator. I will say that there is some problems with it, like the effects in the Predator face. I'm not really the biggest fan of because it looks kind of cheesy, and some of the practical effects kind of look dated. But you could say the practical effects in Terminator are dated. They are, but it still doesn't affect the movie at all. And I feel like it gives the Predator more weapons, more toys to play with, a bigger atmosphere, a better atmosphere. And I will also say I'm not a fan of Gary Busey in the movie. I just feel like he was kind of thrown in there at last second. I don't know, the whole idea of having this containment team or whatever the freak it was. I just didn't care for it because it kind of felt like it came out left field. Like, oh, here's Gary Busey. It's like, oh, okay. Somehow they know about this. I was expecting an Arnold, which was supposedly was going to happen. It would have made more sense if it was Arnold, but I don't know. I just always thought it was underrated. So, what's your guys' thoughts on Predator 2?
Go for it, Steve.
What's that?
Go for it. Give your thoughts, my friend.
Oh, I like Predator 2 quite a bit. I like how he's interacting with gangs and stuff like that. I love that. I'm a big fan of Danny Glover. I like Gary Busey, but I like Gary Busey in everything because can't get enough of that crazy human being. I do really like Bill Paxton. Again, I can't get enough of him in anything. I think everything in this movie, almost everything, is really, really great. Almost everything lives up to the first movie. It's almost on equal footing, I think. And I think, honestly, it's people that don't like action movies that don't like Predator 2. Or it's people who don't like horror movies. Because amongst the crowd that I've run around with, almost everybody likes Predator 2. I mean, it's fine if anybody doesn't, but I mean, a lot of people generally, I think, do enjoy it if they enjoy action movies and horror movies, or maybe even sci-fi. Maybe it's the sci-fi fans that don't like it. That might be the thing. As far as anything else, like Predator 2 is one of the movies that I put on in the background while trying to complete papers in college. And let me just let you know that putting on nearly mindless action movies in the background while trying to complete papers is the best way to spend your time in college. So that's what I can say about Predator 2. What do you think, John?
I respect both of your opinions, and I actually am going to differ here. I actually have never really been the biggest fan of Predator 2, and it's not a bad film. It's actually a movie I can watch. I actually really I could watch any of the first three. I even like Predators. I think that's a good movie. But my big disconnect with this movie, I think it might have just been pacing, and I know a lot of people have they're like, pacing what? Because the first 5-10 minutes is like crazy battle, and then you have this gang get murdered by the Predator. But like right after that, I feel like the movie really slows down for me. And like I don't know, like I definitely think Bill Paxton's good in it. The girl, the lady from Total Recall, she's also in this. I can't think of her name, Maria something. And I think Danny Glover does a fine job. I don't even think anyone's really bad in the film. I definitely don't see hate for this film. I don't hate it at all. It's just honestly, I think I grabbed for part 3 a little bit more. I like Predators a little bit better. Maybe it's the jungle atmosphere that I like. I respect that they tried to go grand. I respect that they tried to go city. But I think that overall, it's one of those movies I just rarely go back and rewatch. I think it's good in its own way, but it's just not, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just never grabbed me. And it's funny, like Steve says that it's, like if you're not that big of an action fan. And that's funny because I am a fan of certain action films, but maybe he's right. Like, I don't know I couldn't really explain to you what the disconnect is, but there definitely is a disconnect with me in that movie. I think overall it's a good film. It's like a 7 out of 10 probably, but it's just for rewatchability. I don't ever really go back and rewatch it for whatever reason. I think it's fine, but like just not one of my faves.
That's how I used to think of it back in the day. Like when I first watched Predator 2, like I seen the first Predator and I thought, wow, this is great. Then I watched Predator 2, and for some reason when I first seen it, I really didn't get into it. I was like, this is kind of boring, it's kind of slow. After this, like I could totally understand where you're coming from, John. I just don't know. I just think over the years I've watched it more and more and more and more, and maybe it's just grown on me more and more and more and more. It's one of those weird movies, I guess. It's a really weird kind of relationship with the film, but I've grown to really enjoy it.
Really quick, Nate. I'm sorry to break in on you. I got to get going, but before I go, I do want to bring up 2 more movies. One's a bad one. One's a worse one, but for a good reason. The first one that's just straight up bad is Alien 3. Not a fan of that movie. I got a lot of problems with it. However, I do think it's worth discussing, and I look forward to you guys actually talking about it. I'll listen to the rest of the broadcast probably sometime tomorrow. The other one is Troll 2, which did come out in the year 1990. I can't wait to hear your discussion. I love it. Rock on, guys. Thank you for inviting me. I got to get going.
See you later,
Just
Steve.
me, buddy. Peace.
Thank you, brothers. Bye-bye.
Rock on, man.
So, yeah. He'll be delighted that we already talked about Troll 2.
Yeah, we already got Troll 2 covered, so he'll probably hear that tomorrow when he watches the stream.
Yeah, if not, we'll definitely remind him in the chat so he doesn't listen for the.
Yeah.
He's like, they didn't talk about it. But I feel bad because actually Alien 3, I don't even think was 90, was it? I thought it was 92.
No, it's like 92.
Yeah.
Still, talk about it if you want to. It's a very interesting thing to talk about. I'm actually really curious about your thoughts on it because, you know.
Yeah, we briefly discussed this over Facebook Messenger, and I saw your review. I thought you did a great job with it as always. I'm complete in agreement. I don't really like Alien 3. And you know, it's funny because on paper, I'm just one of those people. I don't know. You can call me preppy, whatever. Well, actually, no, don't call me preppy because I'm not fucking preppy. That would be a lie. I usually like the darker route to go. Like, for instance, you got the original Alien movie. I think it's a fucking classic. Saw it on 35 millimeter a few months back. Awesome time in the theater. Man. Aliens is a sequel where they turn up the volume. It's very much the T2 in the Alien franchise. They turn up the volume, everything. But Alien 3 is a movie that really tries to go back to the roots and tries to be just the one alien this time and the dreary atmosphere and stuff. Like, on paper, I would rather see that movie than Aliens on paper, right? But however, when you see both of those movies, Aliens is by fucking far the better movie. Like, it's not even close to me. I know Alien 3 has its marks. Alien 3, I know David Fincher marks. They all love Alien 3. What more power to them? I think it's a fucking mess. I think the studio just did not know when to stop meddling in. They should have just let Fincher run with it and make it his own movie. Maybe it would have turned out a little bit better. Some positives. I like Charles S. Dutton in the film. I think he's good. The one of the inmate characters that Ripley kind of befriends. It has its problems though. I think it's the all the characters in the past film being killed off during the opening sequence and like opening title credits, and they're getting killed off. And they don't even show anything. It's a mess. It's really bad. The xenomorph dog, thought it was a really stupid idea. Just make it a person. There's no reason. There's some shoddy effects. It's not my cup of tea. It's just not a good film. Is it watchable? Is it the worst? Probably not. Like I can get through it. It's like a 5 out of 10 movie for me. Like there's definitely more bad than good in it. But overall, I'm gonna have to give it the old thumbs down. But I do know your review. If you want to get for your other listeners that haven't seen a review, go ahead, my friend.
All right, thanks, man. Since I've already kind of covered it before, I'm just kind of gonna maybe glance through it just a little bit. But yeah, I just agree with you, man. Just you look into the history of the movie, and I just really didn't even know the history. I just remember being a kid, and I had a triple pack of Alien and Aliens and Alien 3. And Alien, I remember loving as a kid. It scared me. And I remember loving Aliens because, like, wow, it's this amazing action movie. There's a lot of explosions. to me, Aliens kind of has that atmosphere that James Cameron would do. I think James Cameron did this and T2, right?
Yes.
Well, I feel like he kind of got that atmosphere of the apocalyptic war in T2 and T1, where he had that T1 was before Aliens, but T2 really had that great atmosphere of the war.
Definitely.
You can feel that in Aliens. And Aliens is an epic movie, just on effects wise and action wise and just scale wise. It's a massive movie. I love Aliens, especially the director's cut or the other director's cut, the special edition cut. It's amazing. If you haven't seen special edition cut, John, it's fully fantastic. Have you seen it?
What's that, buddy? I didn't hear you. Can you turn your mic up a little bit?
Oh yeah, it's scooted away from me a
Sorry,
little
it's
bit.
just a little bit low.
All right, can you hear me now?
I hear you better, much better. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I had it far away from me. That was why. It was like way over here. But yeah, I was just saying that Aliens is like a really massive scaled movie. And
Yeah.
Have you seen the special edition cut?
I've actually not. I've only seen whatever the bare bones DVD I have. That's the only cut I've seen. I've not seen special edition cut. What is substantially different?
Oh, dude, it's like better. It adds to the movie in so many ways. There's like so many different subplots and moments. It's truly one of those underrated cuts that nobody ever talks about. I just thought it was like, wow, this is better than a lot of other cuts I've seen.
I'll have to see
But
that. Is that on the Blu-ray?
I think so. Just look for, if you see a copy of Aliens, it'll say special edition. That's how you're getting it, because it says special edition.
Excellent. I'll be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, I would recommend it. And I know that there's an assembly cut of Alien 3, which I heard was better, but I don't know. Some weird stuff like that. There's all kinds of cuts to these movies. I don't even realize there were. But Alien 3, man, like you said, as a kid watching it, I could never get into it. It was boring, and I was like watching, like, wow, they really killed these guys off from the previous movie like that, and Bishop is all messed up, and Ripley is, bald, and it's depressing and dark. I'm like, what happened? But I think what's interesting about this movie is that the history behind it. Like, it went through so many scripts. It was insane. And the director kind of got thrown into the seat. I mean, there was, script changes every day. So it was a hectic movie, and really the studio ruined this movie. It really did. It was a rushed product. Yeah, I just think if it wasn't so rushed and the studio wasn't involved, I think it'd be a decent Alien movie. And like you said, on paper, it sounds amazing, but not a big fan of it. I think and that's not like a movie I hate, but it's kind of like, and you're going to hate me for saying this, but it's kind of like Predators, where I feel like it's not really the greatest, but I can still watch it occasionally.
Yeah, we definitely don't hate it as much as Rambo. That video is so funny, man. He takes his bat to the VHS. That's one of the funniest things of all time.
Dude, that's like the most classic legendary rant he's done. I'm like, man, this is like gold right here, man. It was so good.
Absolutely. If you guys I feel the same way. I don't hate it that bad, but it just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Was it your pick or my pick? I totally forgot.
I'm not sure, but I figured this would be fun to do, because unless there's any more that you want to go in depth on, which we can. But I figured we do like a top 5 best. Even if we've already discussed it, we can just do our top 5, and then maybe a worst, like a bottom 3 worst.
Sure.
Do you want to do bottom 3 worst first, and then we'll do best?
Sure. That sounds good.
Okay, here. I'll do my bottom 3 first, because I kind of sprung this upon you. Let's see. All right, bottom 3 worst of 1990. These are the movies that you have to avoid. Right. Let me see. Okay. So sorry. I'm trying to make sure I have all 3 here. Okay. So my number 1 worst for this year is the easy one. It would be Initiation, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 4. This is one of the shittiest movies of all time. I actually had it as my number 2 worst horror movie sequel. It's somehow directed by Brian Usna, who has done some good movies like Society, and he also did Bride of Reanimator, I believe, in the same year, which is a fine movie. But yeah, this is a terrible movie. It basically, this is the plot of this movie. The opening scene, this reporter well, no, it's Clint Howard, and he's like scrummaging through trash, and he sees this woman fly off a roof, and before she hits the ground, she bursts into flames, then hits the ground and dies. And then the rest of this movie is this horrendously bad actress reporter trying to figure out why that happened. And it's like this whole witch cult and coven. It has nothing to fucking do with Christmas. It's like the worst version of a Halloween 3, like a movie that, let's not be like the first movies, but let's also not have anything to do with the fucking holiday. It's a piece of shit. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and it's definitely the one to avoid. Let me see. We were talking about this one with Gideon before. This is not one I've seen, but it gets a 2.3 on IMDb. Night of the Dribbler, and it involves a killer basketball. We were hysterical laughing about that, man. That's a real movie. There's a movie about a killer basketball. So don't see that one. And if I had to throw one more in there that I'm not a big fan of, Extro 2 is kind of a piece of shit. Yeah, I'll go Extro 2. That's probably my 3 that I would say avoid like the plague.
Nice. Most of those movies, some of those I didn't like. The Dribbler, I never even heard of, or Astro 2. I don't even think I've heard of the first movie, to be honest. But yeah. I'd say my 3 lower ones, just looking over here. There's actually a lot of movies I enjoy from this year, but if I have to say,
it was hard. There's a lot of good.
I wasn't really the biggest fan of Psycho 4 at the beginning. I always thought it was. I like Psycho 1. I love Psycho 1. I love Psycho 2. I even love Psycho 3. People hate Psycho 3. I love Psycho 3. But Psycho 4, I just remember being disappointed with, because it's basically just a flashback movie with
Anthony Perkins, and he's on the phone. He's on the phone for like the whole movie.
Yeah, like, what is this? And then they made a movie after this called Basement Hotel. Like, this is like lame, man. Like, first of all, how is he alive? Second of all, what is this? And they try to do this whole prequel thing, and it's just bad to me. I'm not a fan of Psycho 4.
I don't really like it either, but that movie actually has a very big fan base, which is hilarious because I don't know why.
I know. I think Rambo After Life did a review on it. He didn't do a rant on it either. He did a review on it, and I was like, wow, because I didn't really like that movie that much. I was surprised by that.
Me too.
But, it's to each their opinions, it's how it
Absolutely.
is. I remember seeing, I don't know if I'd say it's a horrible movie, but Gremlins 2, The New Batch, even though it's not necessarily a horror movie, it's kind of like a kid-friendly kind of horror film. But I wasn't really a big fan of Gremlins 2. I'll be honest. It was kind of lazy for me. And I'm going to go with one of these movies I haven't even seen.
I did the same.
I'm going to go with this one right here. I Brought a Vampire a Motorcycle.
No, that's not a movie. Is there really a movie called that?
Yep, I'm going to go with that.
Vampire a Motorcycle. What the fuck? That's hilarious.
It gets a 5.6. Wow.
Maybe it's not that bad. Wow. 5.6.
Want to hear the plot? After a satanic ritual during which an occultist is killed by a motorbike gang, a bike is inhabited by a vampiric spirit. Naughty later buys that. Naughty, what kind of character name is that? Naughty later buys that motorcycle, wants to fix it up, but the bike has developed a thirst for blood and revenge. So a vampire motorcycle. No lie, it doesn't even sound that bad.
yeah, it sounds better than a basketball killer.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go with that one because the title alone is amazing.
Absolutely.
So that's my
top 5?
Yeah, let me get back in the list real quick. Top 5 for me. These aren't really in order. They're just kind of my 5 favorites of the year. Jacob's Ladder, Exorcist 3, Child's Play 2, and Night of the Living Dead. And my last pick is probably oh, this is hard. I want to say Troll 2, but I don't want to rule out the good movies. I would say Tremors, which I didn't even bring up, but I love Tremors. I think it's a great movie.
Man, we could talk about Tremors too when we're done with this, and we can call it a night if you're cool.
I love Tremors. It's one of my favorite ones, probably.
Me too. I love Tremors too. All right, my top 5 would be Nightbreed at number 1. I'll show up Nightbreed again. This is probably my favorite of the year. Awesome movie. Number 2, I have Child's Play 2 over here. I really like Child's Play 2 a lot. I think this is a perfect fucking sequel. Then we'd go Misery. Then we'd go Jacob's Ladder. And then for the last pick, it's tough because there's so many movies I like from that year. I really like It. I really like Texas Chainsaw 3. This is tough. I even really like Exorcist 3, Night of the Living Dead 90. I really like. I mean, there's so many good, but I'm going to have to give the spot to. I'm probably going to give it to. I'll give it to Graveyard Shift. Fuck it. I love Graveyard Shift. I think it's a great movie. So I'll go Graveyard Shift. I'll put it in my top 5.
Nice, man. I definitely want to see it. I've heard some pretty good things about it, honestly.
It's a fun film. I think it's a really fun film. My friend's dad, my friend Ben, his dad wrote screenplays, and that's one of the screenplays he wrote. And his name's Ben Esposito, and his dad's name's John. And he also wrote like some Teen Titans episodes, a Masters of Horror episode, and he co-produced From Dusk Till Dawn. So he's really cool.
That's cool, man. That's awesome.
No doubt.
What's on Tremors?
Oh man, I fucking love Tremors, man. That I feel bad that we forgot about that one till now. But
I know, the dust.
Yeah, I mean that happens. This list is so chock full of good stuff. There was bound to be something that we forgot.
Yeah, I mean we didn't mention Cat in the Brain, which I heard was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy Tremors. I mean Kevin Bacon's great. It's just to me, it's like one of those definitions of just a fun horror film. Like I can turn my brain off. I don't have to worry about the marks. I can just enjoy the shit on the screen. And like Tremors is one of those movies for me. I just think it's a great time, great popcorn movie. And I think it's pretty underrated. It's not one that you hear like brought up all that much. I think it's a really, really good film. Some of the sequels aren't the greatest. They aren't. But I mean, overall, I really dig Tremors.
Yeah, same here, man. I really enjoy the first movie. I think Kevin Bacon's awesome in it. I think the characters are great. Oh, Grim's back. What's up, Grim?
What's up, dude? Told you I'd come back.
We'll have you do your top 3 worst and top 5 best in a second. John kind of had that idea. We did that just a second ago. We'll have you do in a minute, but we're gonna kind of talk about Tremors real quick. Have you seen Tremors?
Yeah.
I think the effects in it are great. They keep it practical.
Have you seen the sequels?
It's a fun movie, man. Oh yeah, the sequels too. I like Tremors 2 Aftershocks. I think that's a pretty fun one too. I didn't see the other ones though. I didn't see 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's supposed to be a TV show but it got canceled. But yeah, the first movie, man, it's classic. I like a lot of the scenes. It's got some great practical effects, great setting in the I think it's Nevada, the Nevada desert or whatever. It's got a great atmosphere to it. It's got great dialogue, good characters. It's a fun movie. It's fun, and I think that Fred Ward was good in it. Kevin Bacon, as well as the rest of the cast. I mean, really everybody in the movie did a great job. And so was that one guy too. He became kind of the lead after the second movie. Because like in the second movie, it was Fred Ward. He kind of became the lead. And then the third movie, Fred Ward didn't come back. So I don't remember his name. Michael something.
Michael Gross.
Michael Gross became the lead. Which I like him too. And I like how he kind of became... If you think about it, he kind of became the Reggie Bannister of the series.
Yeah, that's true.
Reggie Bannister kind of started out in the background and slowly became the lead. But Grim, what's your top 5 favorite movies from the 90s?
Shoot, that's a tough one. I actually haven't thought of creating a list.
Yeah, it was kind of just straight on the wind.
I think my first would have to be I know number 1 would have to be Hellraiser 3. Hellraiser 3. I love... okay, I know one of them has to be Night of the Living Dead. What else we got? Shoot. Does it have to be from the list or like...
It's up to you.
What was your top 5?
Mine was Child's Play 2, Night of the Living Dead, Jacob's Ladder, what was the last 2? Totally forgot. I shouldn't have forgot. Oh, Tremors and shoot. I forgot the
Exorcist
last
3.
one. Yeah, Chainsaw Massacre Part 3.
No, Exorcist
Yeah.
3.
Oh, Exorcist 3. Exorcist 3.
I know your list better than you.
Damn. I think my list would have to be at least for just this list would be number 1, Child's Play 2, then Night of the Living Dead. Third, shoot, People Under the Stairs. Hell yeah! Can't believe I forgot about that one. 4 would be shoot. I know Child's Play 3 wasn't on that list, but that was also one of my favorites. I have to have 2 Child's Play movies in there, if that's acceptable for you guys.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
I don't know. This is just a tough one.
Yeah, I get it, man.
It's all good.
Is there anything else you guys would want to discuss? I'm definitely down to wrap up in a little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say we were kind of using trimmers to kind of close the show out. If you guys want to, you guys got any final thoughts on the year 1990? Any thoughts on the start of the 90s and the films that were coming out?
It was kind of a weird year, you know. Like that's when all like the whodunits started and everything. No. It's actually a good year. It was just weird, you know. Like each year started its own thing. That's what's kind of weird now.
Yeah,
I think it was a really strong year, surprisingly. Like, because the '90s is a decade that gets shit, but like overall, I like about 75% to 80% of the fucking movies on this list. Like a lot of the ones we talked about, I like. The only real total piece of shit on this list is Initiation, Silent Night, Dead Night 4.
Oh hell no!
Yeah, other than that, though, this is a good fucking list. You got some good sequels, you got some good slashers, you got some good monster movies, you got some good exorcism movies. You have a really solid year overall, and I think the next year you had a couple decent movies, 91, but like from 92 to like 95, there's really nothing that came out those 3 years. That's like one of the worst 3-year periods of the history of the genre. And then 96 with movies like Scream and The Craft and Wolf and movies like that.
I'm not a fan of that, though, even when that stuff started picking up. I mean, really, I'm a fan of Scream, but like Urban Legend I thought was meh. And
I'm the same way. I don't really like neo-slashers, man. I never really did.
I know
Urban Legend was pretty mediocre. Low-key.
Oh yeah, Jared Leto. Yeah, it's funny watching that movie now. It's like, there's the Joker. Actually, you think about it, in American Psycho, we have Batman killing the Joker with an axe. Think about it.
Yeah, I never even thought of that.
Yeah, it's like funny watching that now. It's like, oh, Bruce Wayne is evil.
Yeah, I think this year set a really good pace that the rest of the year the rest of the decade just really couldn't follow, as opposed to the 80s, where you look at the year 1980 in horror, you have some of the best movies ever, and then the decade that follows, you have some more classics. Like you have every year, like 85 is a great year in horror, 87 is a great year, 81 is the year of the slasher. Like you have so many separate classic years in the history of the genre in 1980. But with this genre, I would say 1990, and weirdly enough, I'd say 1999 are the best 2 years of the 90s decade. So the first year and the last year are probably your best. It's like in the 99, you got movies like Blair Witch Project and stuff like that. So, I mean, I definitely think you had some good stuff in 99 as well. But overall, I like this year. I think this was a good year. I picked this year out of the air, and I'm really happy I did, because this was a lot of fun to discuss with y'all.
Yeah, it's definitely been a fun time, man. I really, until we did this stream, didn't realize how many awesome movies there were in 1990. I'm like, well, that's actually a pretty good list. So, I mean, it's a great year, man. I mean, a lot of some of my favorite movies came out in this year, and The Exorcist 3, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And, you know, I love Tremors. I love Child's Play, too. Like, you got so many great different flavors of horror films that kind of came out in that year, and it kind of covered a lot of grounds that year, which is pretty cool. And you can't forget, I got a vampire motorcycle.
The dribbler.
The dribbler.
Night of the dribbler.
We gotta give that a shout out too. But yeah, man, it's been fun talking about these movies, you guys. It's been a fun stream. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. It's been a long night, but it's been a fun night. It's been a party. Thank you all for watching, and thanks again to the guys for being on the stream. The ones that are here and the ones that are watching. Just thank you and rock on.
Dude, absolutely. Thank everybody that watched. Thank everybody that joined. And I wanted to say that if this is our last stream because of Google Hangouts dying, we went out with a bang. The 3-hour year in review of 1990 is just the way I'd like to go out. So I appreciate y'all having me too. I really do. Thank you, Nate.
It's no problem, man. It's no problem, man. It's an honor having you guys. And horror forever. See you guys later. Peace.
Too sweet.